From Spillane Field in Wareham, Massachusetts, it's Wareham Gatemen Baseball on the Gatemen Baseball Network as the Gatemen welcome the Harwich Mariners for the second and final time in the regular season. Hi, folks. Welcome to Spillane alongside my broadcast partner, Cameron Stewart. I'm J.D. Rachi. Gatemen coming off a 3-0 loss to the Falmouth Commodores yesterday. The best pitching staff on the Cape, a 3.32 ERA for Falmouth, and it doesn't get any easier with a very excellent pitching staff in Harwich with a similar 3.32 ERA. The 1A, 1B of the Cape in terms of pitching staffs.
Yeah, it is like facing the same thing, seeing the same movie 2 nights in a row, and tonight the Gatemen get a guy in Danny Poitamani who they've already seen twice this year. In fact, half his appearances since in 2 different stints with the Mariners this summer have come against the Gatemen. And so far, he's pitched 3 1/3 against them this year, has not allowed a hit, but has the loss in one of the games. The 1 earned run coming back on June 13th. That was the home opener here for the Gatemen that they won in walk-off fashion. A walk-off sacrifice fly from Bryant Packard in that game. So again, getting a run home without the benefit of a hit. So this is a guy, as we heard earlier, the Mariners are kind of wearing thin on their pitching staff, as are the Gatemen. So it was crucial for them to get Poitamani back on the team. He's a guy who was well rested and who's got plenty of innings still left in that arm for them. So he could be crucial for the Mariners going forward this season.
And opposing Poitamani tonight on the mound, the right-hander Tyler Kaiser out of Eastern Florida State Junior College, heading to Miami next season. And we've seen Kaiser a bunch of times this season, but we've only seen him out of the bullpen. He's getting the start tonight, though.
Yeah, it should be interesting because, as we mentioned in the pregame, he hasn't gone more than 2 1/3 innings this year. That actually came against the Mariners.
Heading into the game today, and that's because Isaac Collins actually going back to a place where he's a little bit more used to playing. He'll play second base today, a couple of late lineup changes, and then playing first base today for the Gatemen, Austin Shenton. He has only DH'd and played third base this season, so it should be interesting to see what we have going on for Kaiser. He's ready to go here, and the first pitch he throws is in there for a strike to Tanner Morris, the shortstop out of the University of Virginia. Morris, one of the Harwich All-Stars. He is having an excellent season out of the ACC. Averages at .326 on the year in 23 games. He's got 29 hits, 8 doubles, and a triple out of the leadoff spot. Rockets that one high and deep into right field. Jacob Goldfarb giving chase, and that's a leadoff bomb for Tanner Morris. Already it's 1-0 Harwich.
Well, not the start Tyler Kaiser was asking for in his first start of the year. Won't be going too much longer if he leaves fastballs in like that. That's a really good hitter. You mentioned it, an all-star in Tanner Morris. He can turn on those. And we've seen it. That's the wind tunnel out there all year. It's not blowing too hard right now, but anything out to right field has seemed to carry out at Spillane Field this year. And he just got a hold of one, and really no doubt about it.
Harwich coming into the day with just 9 home runs on the season as a team, the lowest number of home runs for any Cape League team, and Tanner Morris promptly changes that as the first pitch to Chris Galland is in for a strike.
It's kind of been a weird day already, hasn't it, JD? The early start time, no infield outfielder batting practice for the Gatemen. They thought it was going to rain. We only got a little bit of drizzle. We didn't get the lineups till about 5 o'clock today, and even then we got our lineup changes for the Gatemen, defensive changes at 5:24 for a 5:30 game. So it's just been kind of a weird night so far, and a team with the lowest number of homers in the Cape League, homers in the first at-bat.
Chris Galland has had himself a nice season. He's got a home run this year. 2-1 pitch to him is fouled off, 2-2. Average isn't exactly where he wants it to be at just .240 on the season, but the slugging percentage is decent at .354. He's got 6 doubles, a triple, and a home run this season for the Harwich Mariners. The OPS at .681 for just a rising sophomore from Boston College and a local guy from Sudbury, Massachusetts. 2-2 from Kaiser, pounded down the left field line, but foul. Just out in front of a fastball from Galland. He crushed that pitch, but didn't quite get it where he wanted it.
Sudbury, one of those nice suburbs of Boston, known as a lacrosse town now, but once the home of one Babe Ruth. Used to live there when playing with the Red Sox.
Another 2-2 in the dirt, so now Galland has fought his way back into the count. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
And this is not a great start for Tyler Kaiser, but not a great start for Drew Millis either, as he is doubled down right now and he is in some pain.
He's down again.
And he took a ball a couple nights ago in pretty much the same spot, lower abdominal area, you might say. And Don Snedden had to double check with him today when the teams came to see if he was good to catch, and he was very emphatic. He was ready to get back out there after missing the game last night. And here in the first inning, he takes one in pretty much the same spot.
There's a lot of protection for the catcher. There's a lot of protection even in that area for the catcher. And somehow, some way, Drew Millis, 2 games in a row that he has played, has found a way to get hit right in that lower area. He looks like he's in a lot less pain this time around, which is a good sign.
Yeah, last time he was writhing and punching the ground, just really frustrated. This time, you can't blame him if he was frustrated this time with it happening again, but he seems to be ready to get back in there. I would imagine aggravated that it's going to happen to him. Like you said, there's a lot of protection there, but it's found a hole.
Twice?
2 home games in a row for him.
You just feel for the kid. You really do at this point.
Yeah, and especially Drew Millis, one of the most positive guys on this team. And to have that happen, I mean, no athlete, no male really likes to see that happen. As they bring out some water for him just to kind of get him rejuvenated here and try and stay in the game.
And the trainers are smiling, so I'm assuming that Drew is also smiling behind there.
I can't imagine him not.
He is turned toward us, but he looks like he's all right. He'll stay in the game. A big round of applause for Drew Millis, who has just caught the short end of the stick. 2 starts in a row now, but he looks like he's all right. Tyler Kaiser will throw a couple of warm-up tosses to him just in case. And this is the 3rd game in a row also that the Gatemen catcher has gotten injured. Yesterday, Gian Martellini took a pitch off the wrist when he was behind the plate. We thought he was going to have to come out of the game, so they call the catchers the toughest kid on the team for a reason. They are certainly getting their money's worth back there, if you will. So a full count still, 3 balls and 2 strikes to Chris Galland. Already 1-0 Mariners in this game, a leadoff homer for Tanner Morris. 3-2 poked into right field. Jacob Goldfarb tracking it, and he makes the play for at number 1. Give the defense now for the Gatemen. In left field, Jeremy Idens. In center field, Skylar Hunter, and in right field, Jacob Goldfarb, who you saw make that last play. In the infield, Ryan Kreidler at third, Sahid Valenzuela at shortstop, Isaac Collins at second, Austin Shenton at first base, and the ever-tough and ever-hittable, apparently, Drew Millis behind the plate with Tyler Kaiser on the mound. First pitch to Aaron Shunk, the Georgia product, another all-star on this Harwich Mariners team. Fouled off, 0-1 to the Georgia Bulldog. Big rip and a miss at a slider, nastiness out of the zone from Tyler Kaiser, and that's a pitch that he's really wanted to work on this summer.
Yeah, he's mentioned it before, mentioned it in an interview with our Mary Orders, that was something he wanted to develop throughout the season, mix in an extra pitch. He makes the jump from junior college to major college baseball in the ACC next year, so that'll be really important for him, not only in this Cape League season, but going into next year's college baseball season.
He's ahead 1-2 against Aaron Shunk here. Shunk hitting it at .313 through his first 16 games on the Cape. 1-2, waved on and missed. Big strikeout for Tyler Kaiser, his first of the day. Brought to you by Lang, Exifaris, and Bullard, the official strikeout sponsor of the Wareham Gatemen, and this is a good sign, giving up a leadoff homer to Tanner Morris. He's bounced back and had 2 good at-bats against 2 really good hitters in Galland and Shunk.
Yeah, worked a full count up to Galland that time, and Galland actually hit it pretty well, but it hung out there to right center field, and then just a lot of power from Tyler Kaiser that time. Had his pitches going in the last at-bat to Shunk and gets the swinging strikeout. Swing and miss stuff is going to be key for Tyler Kaiser. He hasn't had it too much this year. If he can develop that, that'll be crucial.
He'll try to do it again here against another all-star in this Harwich lineup. Andre Lipsius, the first baseman out of Tennessee. hitting .297 on the season, an alternate for the All-Star team this year. Both Morris and Shunk also All-Stars. Appeal down to the first base umpire. He did go around. So the count now 1-2, and Kaiser again ahead of a good hitter. Another 2-strike pitch from the big righty. This is low. Good pick behind home plate from Drew Millis. 2-2 now. Two inside. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Tanner Morris and Aaron Shunk, both starters for Harwich. Meanwhile, Andre Lipsius, as he strikes out, big strikeout from Tyler Kaiser. Back-to-back Ks to end the inning. After giving up a solo homer to get the inning started, Tyler Kaiser bounces back in a big way, but Harwich does have a 1-0 lead as we head to the bottom of the first inning. Gatemen coming to bat when we come back on the Gatemen Baseball Network. Bottom of the first inning, Isaac Collins to get the offense going for the Gatemen against the left-hander out of Stevens Institute of Technology, Danny Poitamani. Poitamani at 5'11", 180 pounds, heading into his senior year out of Rochelle Park, New Jersey. First pitch to Collins, flared foul. 0-1 to the Gatemen leadoff hitter, playing middle infield for what seems like the first time in forever.
Yeah, he's been solidified in that right field spot for about a week or two now, but this is where he's most comfortable, playing at second base today. We saw him start the year in the preseason, at least for the Gatemen, and when he was playing in that second base position. So let's see if that is a little bit more comfortable out in the field, but he was really pretty solid defensively out and right.
Made a couple of really nice catches. You think back a couple of nights ago at Chatham. Robbed somebody of an extra base hit as he had to dive to make a catch at a very windy Veterans Field. 0-2 the count against him here. Pitch misses low from Poitamani. It's 1-2, and when he made that move into the everyday lineup into right field, the numbers started to really go up for him in the batter's box. He's up at .295 now on the season.
Yeah, I just think we've mentioned it a couple of times, just to have that comfort of knowing you're going to be in the lineup every day and that it's not all resting on one at-bat, I think has been crucial for Isaac Collins this year. And I think what we're seeing in this at-bat right now, we've seen him fall behind 0-2 quite a bit this year, but he doesn't get ahead of himself. He doesn't get nervous up there. He's still waiting for his pitch, has already worked it back to 2-2. We've seen him do that a lot since he's been reinstalled into the lineup.
He's worked it back up to 2-2, and you mentioned he's got a good eye. On-base percentage at .386 on the season for Collins. Lifts that one into shallow right field. Ben Norman back on it, the outfielder out of Iowa, and he makes the catch for out number 1. So 1 up, 1 down for the Gatemen, and now another switch hitter in Sahid Valenzuela, who's been hot of late, an all-star for the Gatemen, comes to the plate. Valenzuela, for a while there, went through a really tough stretch. Didn't have a great game yesterday, but 2 nights ago, 3 hits and a home run back here at Spillane Field. First pitch to him from Poitamani, he misses low. And Valenzuela has really just contributed at all times, and from both sides of the plate, the numbers are almost identical.
Yeah, I was actually just going to mention he's a lot of switch hitters in this Gatemen lineup, and he's really the only one that does damage off of lefties. Over .330 against them this year, hitting from the right side of the plate. So he's a guy who can do it from both sides, like you said, play a couple different positions in the field. He's in at shortstop today for the Gatemen, will be a shortstop in the All-Star game for the Western Division All-Stars. So that kind of versatility from him and guys like him and Isaac Collins, the top of the lineup, sure goes a long way.
Versatile not only at the plate, in the field as well, as you mentioned, Cam. Be a shortstop, but he's been playing mainly second base. It's really been Ryan Kreidler as the everyday shortstop, but a couple of position switches today as Lyle Lockhart was a scratch from the starting lineup. Has a little bit of an arm injury right now after he pitched a couple of nights ago against Chatham. This one bounced to the left side of the infield, a couple of hops to Tanner Morris. Easy throw over to first, 2 gone. But Lyle Lockhart, Coach Snedden, our beat writer Ian Viscera, talked to him and said, why the lineup changed. And he just said, well, I talked to Lyle. He wasn't feeling 100%. I don't want to risk anything with him, because Lockhart, I think, is going to be a big piece moving forward for this Gatemen team, because he really has become the everyday first baseman.
Yeah, it's always something you want to be careful with, guys, here for the summer. You could see even the slightest of injuries. Saw Parker Phillips get hit in the hand, and that was the end of his summer, And you just want to be careful with these guys. Like you mentioned, he can be a crucial part of this team going forward. And, yeah, I just don't think he's been used to throwing this much and this hard. I mean, he hasn't pitched. He's only had 3 or 4 appearances this year, but that last time out, he went 3 innings and scattered around 4 hits. So, I mean, he was out there and he was laboring. He pitched well, but that's a lot on an arm that isn't used to throwing that much and trying to really air it out and impress some scouts here in the Cape League.
The guy that replaced him at first base today, Austin Shenton, in the batter's box. He's at 0-run right now, and that pitch on the outside corner for a called strike, 0-2. Shenton's been was on a bit of a cold streak, and when I say cold, I mean he's hitting under .400 over the last couple of games at .333, 5 for 15 with 3 runs scored and 2 RBIs over his last 5. 0-2 misses low. A ball and 2 strikes to Shenton, who has been the best hitter on the Cape League pretty much all season at .396, just a shade under .400 on the year for the FIU Panther. One-two outside, check swing, but not nearly enough to even encourage an appeal from Mason Meadows behind home plate. Meadows behind home plate, then in the infield, Aaron Shunk, Tanner Morris, Danny Casals, and Andre Lipsius for Harwich. 2-2 flared into shallow left field. The left fielder, Nate Eichhoff, coming in, and he makes the play. The Gatemen go down in order. 1-2-3 for Wareham in the bottom of the first, headed to the top of the second. Tyler Kaiser back to the mound when we come back on the Gatemen Baseball Network. 5, 6, 7 due up for the Harwich Mariners in the top of the second inning. Brad Debo, Danny Casals, and Ben Norman for the Mariners. Already up 1-0 here against Tyler Kaiser and the Gatemen. A leadoff home run for Tanner Morris back in the first inning, the difference maker thus far. Big Brad Debo, nicknamed Tank, out of North Carolina State. He's the DH today. Takes a first pitch strike, on the outside corner. 0-1. Debo at .220 in 18 games with 14 starts. We've seen him a couple of times this season. Caught in the first game of the year and then DH in that second one at White House Field. A 2-0 loss for the Gatemen last time these two teams squared off. 0-2 from Kaiser, fisted to the third base side for Ryan Kreidler. Big strong throw across the diamond in time, one gone.
Kreidler was on a bit of an island on that play because Sahid Valenzuela was more shifted up the middle against the left-hand hitter. Not a full shift on like we've seen some teams use against Austin Shenton for the Gatemen, but it's up to Kreidler to make that play as it was just fisted off an inside fastball there to Debo. But Kreidler just makes it look routine, doesn't worry about it.
And he's been the everyday shortstop for the Gatemen this season, but at UCLA, he started the season at short, really struggled, had a lot of errors in his first couple of games, and then got moved over to the hot corner, so he might be even a little bit more comfortable at third base than he is at short.
Yeah, and it's interesting that we haven't seen him too much in that position. Obviously, Austin Shenton's been the everyday guy, seeing him at first base for the first time this year.
Danny Casals from Maine ropes one into right field, and it one hops over the glove of Jacob Goldfarb. Moving up to second for Casals. He'll be in there with just one out. So a runner in scoring position for the first time today for Harwich, although they do have a 1-0 lead.
And that's just not a good play by Goldfarb out there in right field. We've seen him out in left a few times for the Gatemen this year. And personally, I don't think he's taking very good routes to the ball, and he's been playing a bit too shallow out there in left, which has cost him on a hit or two. And this time, I mean, he just botches it. I mean, that's outfield 101 playing a base hit, and I think that gets the man up Casals an extra base.
And it will be scored as a single for Danny Casals and then an error against Jacob Goldfarb on the advance to second base. First pitch into Ben Norman in there for a strike. Fastball from Kaiser to the Iowa Hawkeye Norman, hitting 190 on the season, so under the Mendoza line in 28 games. He's been pretty much an everyday guy for Harwich, just hasn't gotten the bat going. Norman has 15 hits, 5 doubles, and a home run this season. 7 RBIs, 8 walks, but 25 strikeouts. He's been a big strikeout guy this season, third on the team in strikeouts with 25 on the season. 1-1 and Kaiser's ahead, 1-2 now. Good breaking ball that time. Broke off maybe not a slider, but it looked like could have been the change from the big right-hander. Trying to pick up a big out number 2 here in the top of the second. He's already got 2 strikeouts today, looking for a third. Bounce to the right side, but foul into the glove of Austin Shenton down the first base side. We'll do it again at 1-2.
A lot of these guys for Harwich so far, with a couple of strikeouts, though, they haven't been biting on the 2-strike breaking ball from Kaiser. The 2 strikeouts he had in the first inning, he went 3-2 on both of those after being ahead because he was trying to work the breaking ball, would miss, and then got both those guys on the fastball. So, see what he does with the sequence this time.
1-2, waved on a miss, big fastball. You mentioned it, Cam. It's been the out pitch for him. Third strikeout of the day, brought to you by Lang, Exafaris, and Bullard for Tyler Kaiser, and he's now just 1 out away of getting out of this jam.
Yeah, and you do want to keep working on those breaking balls, and obviously you want that to be your 2-strike pitch if you have it in your arsenal, but you also got to switch up your sequence too. These guys knew, like I did, that he wanted to go to that breaking ball with 2 strikes, and they didn't want to wait around for that fastball. Kaiser gave it to him earlier, got the same result.
First pitch to big Mason Meadows. Moose, as they call him, out of Georgia. Misses low and away, 1-0. to Meadows, who's only making his 10th appearance of the season, and the average has certainly not been there. Not very nice at .069 on the year. 1-0, though, is pumped into center field, but pretty much right at Skylar Hunter. Takes a couple of steps over and makes the play. So Harwich strands one at second base. Tyler Kaiser got into just a touch of trouble in that inning after a single from Danny Casals that hopped over the glove of Jacob Goldfarb, but the out pitch has really been there. The strikeout pitch has been excellent this season for the Gatemen. Another guy that has been excellent this season for the Gatemen, Easton Lucas, the left-hander out of Pepperdine. He's an all-star this year, and he's on the sidelines with our Mary Orders.
Visit the concession stand for some new menu items.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with Gatemen pitcher Easton Lucas, who was selected to the All-Star team. How are you feeling about that?
I am super excited. I'm looking forward to pitching it. It should be fun.
And you're from a mid-major conference. What does it feel to be able to hang with all the guys from every conference around the country?
It's fun, exciting. I've always thought I was good enough, and it's good to know that I am. So, yeah.
What does it mean to you personally to be selected to the All-Star team?
It's a way to prove myself and keep getting better. So. Yeah.
And lastly, what are you most excited for next weekend?
Probably just getting to meet a bunch of new people and getting to play more baseball.
Easton, thanks so much. Guys, back to you.
Gatemen Player, Eastern Propane and Oil donates a camp scholarship.
Thank you very much, Mary. Easton Lucas has been absolutely electric out of the bullpen, and he hasn't made an appearance in a couple of days. We could possibly see him in a long relief situation today with Tyler Kaiser on the mound. We mentioned that it might be a bit of a bullpen day. We haven't seen him since the 12th of July. There's usually a bit longer of a layoff in between appearances, but depending on how the rest of the game goes from Kaiser, I suppose we could see Easton Lucas today.
Yeah, and he did go 4 1/3 back on that game, the 2-2 tie against Catuit, so there is some left. Gatemen will obviously have an off day tomorrow as they'll head out to Fenway Park for their workout, so could be a guy used. He's been used in higher and higher leverage situations as the season has gone on, and he was really excellent that last time out against Catuit out at Lowell Park, the 2-2 tie. 4 1/3, just 1 earned run on 3 hits, only struck out 2, but that's not really his game. So it is nice to see him in the All-Star game. He's a guy who those long relief guys don't usually get the credit they deserve, but he's really been used as a second starter in most of his appearances, and he's been excellent for the Gatemen this year, an ERA under 1.
And another all-star at the plate for the Gatemen here as Jeremy Idens takes a first pitch fastball outside from Danny Poidamani. Idens this season, one of the best hitters on the Cape. He will be an all-star starter, 337 for the UCLA Bruin. He'll start in center field. He's moved all around the outfield so far this year. Started the year a lot in right field. Then we've seen him play center as Skylar Hunter has struggled at the plate. We've also seen him in left field where when he's been needed. He's in left field tonight. 1-1 the count to him. Big rip and a miss at a changeup from Poidamani. Good pitch. A ball and 2 strikes to a guy that we said this Gatemen lineup kind of struggles against left-handers on the year, but out of everybody in this lineup, Jeremy Idens is by far the best hitter against lefties. 480 on the season for Idens against Southpaws. 1-2 is low, 2-2 to Jeremy Idens as the Gatemen still trail it 1-0 here in the bottom of the second inning. Gatemen hit .271 against right-handers this year and .241, so 30 points lower against lefties, albeit lefties in a much smaller sample size, I should say. So the numbers might be a little bit skewed, but what we've seen from Jeremy Idens, 12 for 25 with a double and 7 RBIs against lefties this season, has been impressive as he lifts one into center field right at Chris Gallant, who steps underneath it to make the play. 1 gone. The Gatemen have not been able to figure out Danny Poidamani quite yet. They struggled yesterday with a left-hander out of the bullpen, Mitchell Miller, and really these last 2 days, it looks like they're just a little anxious. Maybe they're trying desperately to break out of the slump, and they're just a little overzealous swinging at pitches that they might not normally swing at.
Yeah, and I think Poidamani and Mitchell Miller are both lefties, but they're also 2 completely different pitchers. Poidamani out here at 5'11", under 200 pounds. He's not a very big guy. He's not a big strikeout guy, whereas Mitchell Miller, tall, lanky, really good strikeout stuff. And he contributed, obviously, to those 11 that the Gatemen had yesterday. Two different pitchers, and they're struggling against both.
Well, they do have their first base runner of the day. Pitch hits Jacob Goldfarb right in the back on the shoulder, and this kid is just an absolute on-base machine for the Gatemen. He hasn't hit all that great this year for Wareham, but the on-base percentage is at .625 for him. Kid just finds a way on.
That's a big Billy Bean guy right there, isn't it? That'll keep you in the lineup.
Little money ball action for Don Sneddon. Wasn't supposed to originally be in the lineup. He's the one that came in to replace Lyle Lockhart, who was a late scratch right before the game, but since he's come over from Katuitt, he's had eight at-bats. He's only got 2 hits, but he's also got 7 walks, including 3 in one game the other night against Chatham. He had a single in that game against the Anglers, then walked 3 times and was hit by a pitch. So he has just continued to trot down to first base whenever this Gatemen team needs him to. 0-1 the count to Pavin Parks, the batter in for the Gatemen. He's out of Kent State, big left-hander. And as much as Jeremy Idens has had success against lefties this season, Pavin Parks has struggled, an .091 average in 11 at-bats, just 1 hit for him against Southpaws. 1-1, fouled straight back, a ball and 2 strikes. And this is a guy that you really want to see get going in the next couple of days, at least until Bryant Packard gets back. You know, he will probably take over part of the Pavin Parks spot in the order, but he is somebody you'd like to see get going, and you'd like to see drive in some more runs out of the heart of this order.
Yeah, he's someone who just hasn't looked too much himself up there, like the numbers at Kent State would indicate. 15 strikeouts in a shortened season for him this year, and we saw it kind of boil over last night. He was the last out of the game in a strikeout, ended up throwing the bat, throwing the helmet. It's been pretty frustrating tenure on the Cape for Pavin Parks, a guy who has just been lighting up the stat sheets. His college career got the attention of the San Diego Padres as well. It was rumored he was going to sign with them, but decided not to, stay at Kent State and play down here in the Cape, and it just hasn't gone the way he's wanted to so far.
1-2, though, lifted into shallow center field, and it'll get down in front of Chris Galland. So delivers his single here. Gatemen in business for the first time today against Danny Poitamani. Runners at first and second with just 1 out for a good hitter in Ryan Kreidler.
And we mentioned his struggle against lefties, Pavin Parks. This is the type of stuff he has to do against them. Gets jammed on a pitch. Again, not trying to do too much with it. Knows he's not going to get pitches in his wheelhouse from a left-hander. Needs to adjust that swing a little bit. Chokes up and is just able to fist that one into center field. And just trying to do the little things for him, and that's how you're going to get back on track if you're Pavin Parks.
Does there, a single. He had 2 doubles a couple of nights ago. Had a really nice game. But it's been almost as if we've seen a really nice game from Pavin Parks, then 2-3 games where he struggles. That's been the real inconsistency, has been the real issue, as Ryan Kreidler shoots one high and deep to right center field, and the right fielder coming over, Ben Norman. Pavin Parks was all the way up to second. Jacob Goldfarb on his way to third. That's a well-hit ball from Ryan Kreidler, but a nice play from Galland.
Yeah, that looked like extra bases right off the bat, but Norman out there in right field just reached.
A couple of wispy clouds in the sky. Early 5:30 start on a Sunday afternoon in beautiful Wareham, Massachusetts. 0-2 in the dirt. Good stop by Mason Meadows behind the plate. 2 balls and 2 strikes. So I think Drew Millis is a bit like Isaac Collins. He'll get down 0-2 pretty quickly and then work his way back into counts pretty well.
Yeah, he has, and we've seen it actually recently this week. He did that a couple of times the last time the Gatemen were at home with that big 9-2 victory, but he hasn't had the success, unfortunately for him, that Isaac Collins has, still sitting at just 214 on the year. But he's a guy who will work the count.
Fouls off another tough pitch, and he's staying alive here. A ball and 2 strikes against him with 2 outs in the bottom of the second inning. Gatemen trail it 1-0 against the Mariners, but they do have runners at first and second. 1-2 shot foul again, just over the head of Don Sneddon and Jim Lawler in front of the first base dugout. So a ball and 2 strikes. Runners at first and second for the Gatemen. 2 outs. In the bottom of the second inning, Poitamani comes set. His pitch home. Fouled off back in right. Still a ball and 2 strikes.
And this is a good example of it. Drew Millis, a couple of pitches on the outside corner that are too close for comfort with 2 strikes. He's able to been fouling those off straight to the backstop and hopes to get one on the inside half.
I want to apologize for a bit of technical difficulties. We will still get through this game, though. 1 and 2 for Poitamani. The left-hander comes set. His pitch home. Inside, almost hits Drew Millis. Probably would have hit on and popped up back in right. We'll do it again at 2 and 2. Now 9 pitches just in this at-bat from Danny Poitamani, up to 37 on the game through just the second inning. The 2-2 home. Runners off from second. Jacob Goldfarb steals third base. Moving up to second is Paven Parks on the play. So now both runners in scoring position. One's 90 feet away, one's 180 feet away. And Drew Millis has climbed back into the count from 0-2 to 3-2.
And I like that send there to have both guys stealing on that play. They know Poitamani isn't coming home with very hard stuff, even when he is trying to really chuck it, and gets the benefit there.
Top of the third inning from Spillane Field in Wareham, Massachusetts. 1-0, the Harwich Mariners lead over the Gatemen. And it's a new pitcher on the mound for Wareham, making his season debut. Danny Barron out of Division II Lackawanna College. The left-hander will make his season debut for the Gatemen against 9-1-2 for the Harwich Mariners. 5'11" Barron, big lefty. First pitch in there for a strike. Looping breaking ball at the outside corner, 0-1. Barron 11 starts this season for the Lackawanna College Falcons, a 1.58 ERA with a 6-1 record. His 0-1 pitch fouled right back into the plexiglass right in front of us behind home plate. 0-2 to Nate Eichhoff, the left-hander out of Virginia. Struck out 58 over 45 2/3 innings, an 11.43 strikeout per 9 ratio. 0-2. Pitches in the dirt. A ball and 2 strikes. Barron's headed off to Penn State next season. Started his college career at Stony Brook before an elbow injury really derailed the start to his collegiate career. Rocks back out of the full windup to 1-2 in his first at-bat. Lefty out of UVA, the first pitch from the left-hander Barron at Lackawanna College. This is inside, a ball and no strikes. Barron peers into the catcher, Drew Millis, behind the plate. Nate Eichhoff being held on at first by Austin Shenton. 1-0 breaking ball, misses up and away, 2 balls and no strikes. Barron suffered from an elbow condition known as ulnar nerve entrapment. That's the reason he was at Lackawanna College. His 2-0 pitch on the outside corner for a strike, 2-1. So we've been told that today will be a staff day for the Gatemen, meaning that really what we've been saying all along, that it's going to be a bullpen day. Everybody going to go 2 or 3 innings. That's why Tyler Kaiser's day is done. 2-1 chop foul by Morris. 2-2 now on a high fastball. Kaiser ends the day 2 innings, 2 hits, a run with 3 strikeouts. So the power stuff was certainly there today for the right-hander headed off to Miami next year. 2-2 the count as Barron works out of the stretch from the middle of the rubber. His 2-2 pitch home to Morris is hit on the ground to the right side of the infield and through under the glove of Isaac Collins into right field for a single. Moving up to second is Nate Eichhoff. Back-to-back singles to get this inning going, or one, I should say a drop third strike and then a single from Tanner Morris. But both of the first batters of the inning reach here against Danny Barron, and there's runners at first and second with nobody out for Chris Galland.
Yeah, definitely not the start you want if you're Joey Barron. You get the strikeout to the first guy, but he's able to advance to first base. It's always tough bouncing back from that. But couple that with the number 9 man in Nate Eichhoff, so you're flipping it back up to the top of the order, and a dangerous hitter in Tanner Morris, who's already homered today, and he's able to shoot a single back up there. And instead of having a guy on first with 1 out, you've got guys at first and second with nobody out, and the whole complexion of the inning changes.
Now Drew Millis asks for time from the home plate umpire, and he and Isaac Collins are going to go out and have a chat with Danny Barron on the mound. Chris Galland is in the box right now. He's 0 for 1 today. Flied out sharply on a line to the center fielder Jacob Goldfarb back in the first inning after the Tanner Morris solo homer. Galland wearing the blue road uniforms today for Harwich. The Harwich Mariners logo and a red, blue, and white star on the upper left breast. First pitch to Galland, lays down a bunt down the third base side. Ryan Kreidler picks it up. His throw over to Isaac Collins covering the bag, not in time. Everybody's safe and the bases are loaded on a bunt single from Chris Galland. And he put it in the perfect spot, right in between the third baseman and the pitcher. Barron went to pick it up. Then Kreidler called him off, and Barron had to crumple into a heap below Kreidler, and Kreidler couldn't get a good strong throw off like he normally would have. Isaac Collins a little bit late over to cover first base, and now bases are loaded with nobody out for Aaron Shunk.
Yeah, it just gets from bad to worse there. This should be the third baseman's ball all the way, but because of, like you said, it was really in the perfect spot. Barron thinks he can get over, but even if he does, he's got to turn and fire. He's a lefty, so he's coming off the wrong side. And so it's good for Kreidler to take it, but Barron, unfortunately, going for the ball is in the way, and Kreidler can't make the strongest throw over there. And it's been kind of a weird inning so far. A drop third strike, a bunt single, mix in a legitimate single in there, and you've got the bases loaded for Harwich.
0-1 the count to Aaron Shunk after a first pitch breaking ball. The 0-1 home from the left-hander Barron is hit on the ground to third base, on to second for 1, and on to first, a double play. Coming in to score from third on the double play is Nate Eichhoff, and it's a 2-0 lead for the Harwich Mariners here in the third inning.
And the Gatemen conceding the run still early enough in the game to get those 2 outs. I actually thought Eichhoff was slow coming off the bag at third base. They might have had a play at the force at the plate and still been able to turn 2, but Kreidler keeping it conservative there and is able to make the easy double play.
So runner on at third base now in Tanner Morris. The first pitch to Andre Lipsius misses up and away. A ball and no strikes to the first baseman out of Tennessee. 5-4-3 on the put out. Double play brought to you by TM Rider Insurance. 1-0 fastball misses inside, 2-0. Two balls and no strikes. Barron comes set. High leg kick and the pitch home. Breaking ball inside on the inside corner, 2-1. So no RBI for Aaron Shunk, although he did drive in a run. Produced 2 outs, and you don't get an RBI on a double play.
And actually no earned run for Joey Barron as well. You remember Nate Eichhoff led off this inning, got on with the drop third strike. So because of that, he would not have gotten on base had it not been for the drop third strike. So no earned run for Barron this inning as well.
2 balls and 2 strikes, the count to Lipsius. Barron comes set, his pitch home. Waved on a miss, nasty slider breaking into the right-hand batter. First strikeout of the day for Barron, brought to you by Lang, Exifaris, and Bullard. That'll do it for the top of the third. 1 run comes across to score. Nate Eichhoff scores on Aaron Shunk's grounding into a double play. We're headed to the bottom half of the third inning. The Gatemen trying to break out of the slump when we come back on the Gatemen Baseball Network.
And it's time for the first Cape League update of the night. So far, we have 3 out of the other 4 games are in progress. Over in Bourne, the Braves look to snap a 4-game losing streak. That game is in the top of the second, and there is no score in that one. Over in Brewster, the Orleans Firebirds scored runs in the first 3 innings of the game and lead that one 3-0. 2 solo homers for Nick Osborne and Spencer Steer have the Firebirds ahead in that one. And then over in Cotuit, it's a rout right now. The Falmouth Commodores lead 7-0 in the bottom of the 5th. Kyle Stowers, coming off his Player of the Week honors, is at it again with a home run and 3 RBI tonight. That one again is 7-0 Falmouth, and that's the Cape League update. Back to you guys.
Thank you very much to our beat writer Ian Becerra, as always, providing our home game Cape League updates. Gatemen trailing it 2-0 here, but it is going to be 9-1-2 due up for Wareham, and they've seen Danny Poitamani once through the order today, aside from Skylar Hunter, and you figure this is the part of the lineup where they can start making adjustments and try to get something going against Poitamani.
Yeah, they were putting together some good at-bats, especially in that second inning. They sent 5 guys to the plate and threatened getting 2 into scoring position. So I do think this is where the adjustments start to come. Isaac Collins saw a lot of pitches in his first at-bat. Saeed Valenzuela worked the count a bit as well. They will be due up second and third in this inning.
Skylar Hunter, the switch hitter out of Purdue, will lead it off. He'll bat right against the left-hander Poitamani. And the first pitch from the Stevens Institute of Technology lefty is swung on and pumped into center field and pretty deep. But back to make the play is Chris Galland out in center. 1 pitch, 1 out for the Gatemen in the top of the third. In the bottom of the third.
First pitch swinging. Hunter gets one he likes, and Galland is moving out all the way to left center. He's never settles under it, and still when he's running out, he has to reach over his head. So that one was really hit on the button by Skylar Hunter. But now we flip to the top of the batting order. Now it's time to see if these guys have made the adjustments.
Isaac Collins strides in 0 for 1 today, flied out to right field, back in the first inning against Poitamani. First pitch from the lefty into the switch hitter batting right, Collins. Fastball on the outside corner, a called strike, 0-1. Collins takes a deep breath, as he always does in between pitches. Waves a black bat over the plate a couple of times. Poitamani comes set. The 0-1 pitch is fouled back into the backstop behind home plate. 0-2. No balls and 2 strikes, 1 out. Bottom of the third inning. Gatemen trying to break out of what's been now a full game and 2 1/3 inning slump. The 0-2 to Collins. Sprayed foul, barely fouled off by the Creighton Blue Jay. 0-2. Saeed Valenzuela, the shortstop today on deck, has that bright red bat that he's been using over the past few days in his hands. No balls and 2 strikes. The pitch from Poitamani misses low and inside. 1-2 now to Isaac Collins. And this is something we talked about. Cam gets 2 strikes on him early, but then fights his way back into the count.
Yeah, that's what he's been known for, putting together good at-bats this year. I think that's what has kept him on this team, and obviously the hot hitting since he was moved out into the outfield has been what's kept him in the lineup.
1-2 from Poitamani, swung on and missed in the dirt. Meadows will have to throw down to first to Andre Lipsius, and he completes the 2-3 putout. First strikeout of the day for Danny Poitamani. Isaac Collins 0 for 2, and here comes Sahir Valenzuela with 2 gone in the third. Valenzuela 0 for 1 today, grounded out to the shortstop, the opposite shortstop, Tanner Morris, back in the first inning. Batting from the right side, as you mentioned, has been one of the better switch hitters to hit from both sides for the Gatemen. First pitch fastball in there for a strike, 0-1. He's hitting pretty much the exact same coming into this game from both sides of the plate. Hitting .327 as a left-handed batter against righties, hitting .333 as a right-handed batter against lefties. A 1 breaking ball misses up and away, 1-1 from the left-hander Poitamani. Poitamani comes set, glove in front of his face, rocks back, kicks high, and fires. 1-1 in at the knees, 1-2. Poitamani, originally on the Harwich roster at the beginning of the season, was released, and then Harwich needed a couple of more arms. He's back with the Mariners. 1-2 from him. Misses low and inside, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Valenzuela in the beautiful cranberry jerseys today for the Gatemen, Cam's favorites. Gatemen written in block lettering across the front in blue and white. Numbers on the back are blue and white as well. 2-2 from Poitamani. Swung on and pumped high and deep into left field. The left fielder gives it a chase back, and he'll make the play just in front of the warning track for the final out of the inning. So Sahid Valenzuela puts a charge into one down the left field side, but the Gatemen go down 1-2-3 in the third. We're headed to the top of the fourth. It's 2-0 Harwich on the Gatemen Baseball Network. Another pitching change on the mound for the Gatemen here in the top of the fourth inning. Joey Barron's day is done. Right-hander Tyler Ahern into the game. Barron goes an inning, gives up 2 hits, 1 run unearned with a strikeout as the bullpen day continues for Wareham. Ahern, the tall and slender right-hander out of Florida State, his first pitch out of the full windup, misses low to Brad Debo, 1-0.
Been a bit of a struggle for Ahern this year, an inflated 6.42 ERA. In each of his 3 appearances for the Gatemen, they've lost all 3 games, and he's gotten the loss on his record for 2 of them.
1-0 hit on the ground to the right side of the infield. Isaac Collins gobbles it up. His sidearm throw to Austin Shinton in time. 1 gone here in the fourth for Harwich.
The second baseman, number 18, Danny Casals.
Danny Casals, the second baseman from Maine, strides in. He's 1 for 1 today, had a single into right field that then hopped over the glove of Jacob Goldfarb out there and moved up to second on the error. First pitch in there for a strike on the outside corner. 0-1 on a good fastball.
This is a guy who can absolutely rake up there for the Maine Black Bears. Led the team in slugging, on-base percentage, RBI, homers, walks, and total bases.
0-1 misses to him low, 1-1. Not normal that you see a guy from Maine coming in to the Cape Cod Baseball League, but when you have a good as year as Casals did, those numbers will get you here. 1-1 fastball, rides outside, 2-1 now to Casals.
I don't know what's more rare, seeing a Maine guy in the Cape League or seeing a guy play for the University of Maine from Miami, Florida.
2-1 fouled off, 2-2. Yeah, not very often you see a guy from southern Florida decide, yeah, I want to go all the way up to Maine and play baseball in college.
The Miami to Orono connection I don't think has really caught on too much yet, but Danny Casals might make it popular. 14 homers, 49 RBI, 302 average for them this year.
2-2 breaking ball fouled off. We'll do it again at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Open stance with short blue socks for the right-hander. The 2-2 from Ahern. Misses low and away, 3-2 now. Bright red batting helmets for the Harwich Mariners with the blue jerseys that we mentioned. White numbers on the black, gray pants with blue piping down either side. Payoff pitch, 3-2. Misses up and in. Casals on with a 1-out walk. Here comes Ben Norman.
Right fielder, number 19, Ben.
That's something that has really been an issue for Ahern this year. In his 3 appearances, he's only given up 2 walks. So that's not something that's really come back to bite him. More hard hit balls off him, as opponents have hit 300 off him in their last 2 appearances for Ahern.
Last appearance coming in a start, an 8-1 loss to the Brewster Whitecaps. First pitch to Ben Norman, shows bunt, pulls it back, called strike anyway. 0-1. Norman 0 for 1 today, struck out swinging against Tyler Kaiser back in the second inning. The third strikeout and final strikeout of the day for Kaiser through his 2 innings of work. Ahern working from the first base side of the rummer, comes set chin high, spins and throws back to first, but back in headlong is Casals at first. Norman, the left-hander out of Iowa. Big, tall kid, pretty slender, not a ton of power in his stroke. 0-1. Breaking ball misses outside, 1-1 now. Norman 6'2", 190, 5 doubles and 3 triples this season for the Iowa Hawkeyes. He hit just 189 in 47 games with 29 starts. No homers for him. The 1-1 from Ahern, swung on and fouled back right toward us, 1-2. Red, white, and blue stirrups. Making up the socks today for Ben Norman. Blue and then a couple of layers of red, white, and blue stripes. Those stirrups over white socks with black cleats today for the Iowa Hawkeye. A ball and 2 strikes. Being held on at first is the runner Danny Casals. Ahern checks back over there. The 1-2 pitch from the right-hander. This is down and away on a breaking ball, 2-2. And Norman's one of those guys that he was just destined to go to a certain school. Grew up in Des Moines, Iowa. Both parents are Iowa grads. His dad played basketball for the Hawkeyes. His older brother Sam pitched for Iowa last year. His uncle Bob Bowlesby, former athletic director at Iowa.
We saw it a bit like with Bryson Stott this year. Both his parents went to UNLV. They met there. Dad was on the football team. Mom was a cheerleader. Very similar situation here with a lot of black and gold running through his veins.
Fouls off a 2-2 pitch down the right field side, and we'll do it again at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
That's a rising program in the Big Ten. Iowa making it to the postseason in 2017. They were a legitimate threat for the Big Ten championship that year. That is a team to look out for in the Big Ten going forward.
Norman just coming off his sophomore season at Iowa. He'll be heading into an upperclassman year for the first time next year. 2-2 from Ahern. Breaking ball up and away, 3-2 now. In fact, the only member of his immediate family that did not go to Iowa is his sister Riley, who plays basketball at Creighton. Or played, I should say.
Not too far.
So still a
home.
Midwest connection.
Yeah.
3-2 from Ahern. Waved on and missed, big fastball. Gets, and now a throw down to first base, gets away from Austin Shenton. Moving up to second, Danny Casals. So Ben Norman is down on a strikeout from Ahern. But Drew Millis tried to throw down to first, got away from Austin Shenton there, and Casals is up to second with 2 gone.
Yeah, just not really on point from Millis that time, and you got a guy who's not used to playing first base, and Austin Shenton down there. And maybe not the time to try and test it, because now Casals is down in scoring position, still with 2 outs, though.
Second time that the Harwich Mariners have had a runner in scoring position. First pitch into Mason Meadows is a fastball on the outside corner, called strike, 0-1. Meadows, the big burly catcher out of Georgia, has had experience catching for the likes of Will Proctor, currently on the Gatemen roster, as well as Justin Glover, who was on the roster earlier this season. On fastball, rides out and away, 1-1. Meadows this season at Georgia, .289, as a redshirt freshman, was on the All-SEC freshman team out of Roswell, Georgia, and Pope High School. Ahern comes set, looks back at second base, chin high. 2 looks back, now the 1-1. Slider swung on and clipped foul back and right.
Do you think
ball and 2 strikes now.
Do you think he got the same flack that Ben Simmons did for winning Rookie of the Year? Redshirt freshman on the freshman team?
I would
much the same
assume that
scenario.
people cared a little bit less about the All-SEC freshman team than they did about NBA Rookie of the Year, especially because Donovan Mitchell had such a good season outside of Ben Simmons. I'm not an expert on Bottom of the 4th inning from Spillane Field. 2-2 the count to Austin Shenton, who's leading it off against Danny Portamani, the left-hander out of Stevens Institute of Technology. Portamani comes set in his 2-2 home. Is swung on and fouled off. Still 2 balls and 2 strikes. And you can actually see Austin Shenton now, so that does mean our video feed is back. Was out there for a couple of innings, but we are back and ready to go. Shenton's got 2 strikes against him against Portamani. He is 0 for 1 today. Flied out to left field against the left-hander back in the 1st inning. Much like yesterday, Gatemen struggling offensively. Just 1 hit through the first 3 innings against Portamani, who has looked sharp in this game. Another one sprayed foul. Rather, that one actually gets under it pretty nicely. 2-2 pitch, and it's skied out to left field. Nate Eichhoff has to race back and make the play. 1 gone in the 4th.
This ball, even with no real wind out there at Spillane, that one just kept carrying and carrying out to left field. A good piece of it from Austin Shenton. And Eichhoff just has to keep backtracking, and he's only about a step or 2 in front of the wall when he makes that catch. So giving it a ride there was Austin Shenton for kind of a loud out number 1.
And Shenton's semi-struggles continue. He went 0 for yesterday, although he didn't go 0 for. He had 1 hit on the day. He and Jeremy Idens providing the sole offense of the day for the Gatemen. Went 1 for 3 and reached twice, while Idens went 2 for 4. He'll try to get things going here. The right-hander out of UCLA in the batter's box, and he's up 2-0 against Portamani. And I think that's what the Gatemen need to do moving forward a little bit more, is try to work these counts, because they've let Portamani get ahead quite a bit, and he's been aggressive and has mowed down these Gatemen batters pretty efficiently. 2-0 shot into center field, but right at Chris Galland. Leaps up and makes the play. You heard the sound of the bat, the crack of the bat there. It sounded great, but it was just hit right at Gallen. Not much you can do if you're Jeremy Idens there. You put good wood on the ball, just couldn't find a gap.
Yeah, straightaway center there. Gallen actually misreads it a bit. He's coming in and has to eventually reach up to grab it, but that's 2 hard-hit balls for the Gatemen this inning that have resulted in outs. Those start to come around for
Northeast Maritime Institute's College of Maritime Science is a proud sponsor of the Wareham Gatemen. If you're looking for a career at sea, look to NMI's program of education, adventure, and employment on northeastmaritime.com, America's premier 2-year maritime college.
Gatemen Baseball is officially sponsored by Robertson's GMC, the truck professionals. Located just 2 miles away on Cranberry Highway, we are proud to sponsor the Gatemen Youth Clinic for 2018. Robertson's GMC. We are professional grade. Power like a pro.
Legacy Insurance Agency at 213 Main Street here in Wareham can offer you coverage for all your insurance needs. We have the bundle discounts, the accident forgiveness, the vanishing deductible, no loss, etc. But unlike those other gimmick companies, we can quote you with multiple carriers. So forget the lizard and the price tool and come talk to a professional. We'll help you find what's right for you.
Top of the 5th inning from Spillane Field, 2-0, the Harwich Mariners lead. First pitch into the bottom of the order, and Nate Eichhoff misses low, 1-0 from Tyler Ahern, who's working into his second inning of relief. Tyler Kaiser got the game going as the starter, went 2 innings, gave up 2 hits and an earned run. Joey Barron then went an inning, gave up an unearned run, and now Ahern working into the second, and Drew Millis just got hit again.
Ugh.
The man cannot stop getting hit. He is turning into the Michael Amditis of the current Wareham Gatemen roster.
Yeah, not the quantity of Michael Amditis, but the quality of shots he's taken cannot be stated enough. This one doesn't send him down on his knees, doesn't bring the trainers out, but that sounded like it hurt, nonetheless.
Millis just trying to stay safe back there. He's done a good job of staying in this game despite all the brutality, I guess you could say he has taken back there today. Now Tyler Ahern out in front of Nate Eichhoff, who scored the second run of this game after striking out against Joey Barron, but reaching base on a drop third strike. 1-2 in the dirt. Good stop behind home plate by Drew Millis, even though he really didn't need to do it. Nobody on base. Ahern, the right-hander out of Florida State, faced just 4 batters in the 4th inning, walked 1, and then struck out 2 in his first inning of relief. Meanwhile, Eichhoff out of UVA in his second plate appearance of the game. 2-2 shot down the right field line, but foul. We'll do it again at 2 balls and 2 strikes. We talked about how this is a bullpen day for the Gatemen. How do you think that changes the mentality of each pitcher as the day progresses, knowing that a lot of arms are going to come out of the pen for Wareham?
Well, I think they almost look at it at an inning-by-inning basis, and they kind of see themselves as a collective team today.
2-2 flared out into left field. Another single or another reach base for Nate Eichhoff.
And I think the bullpen, those guys out there, know they're going to get their chance today. Guys who haven't pitched in 5 or 6 days know this is their day to prove something, and they want to kind of keep a line moving between all of them and keep Harwich off the board. Bullpen has only allowed 1 to come in so far here in the 5th inning, but I think they kind of see themselves as a collective unit today and try and get something positive going into the off day tomorrow.
Well, they'll have to do it, or at least Ahern will, against Tanner Morris here. Is already 2 for 2 with a home run and a single thus far today. Out of Crozet, Virginia, in the Miller School. 6'2", 190. Just came off his freshman season with the Virginia Cavaliers in the ACC. Head of the count now, 2-0. And we've kind of seen the same build from a guy like Logan Davidson, who we saw with Falmouth yesterday. Tall guy, pretty powerful stroke for Tanner Morris. And I think that this has become what the shortstop position has really come about, putting your most athletic guy at the shortstop position, because he theoretically does have the toughest position to defend in the infield.
Yeah, and we see it in the major leagues now as well. Big, tall guys like Carlos Correa, and Xander Bogaerts a pretty tall guy to be playing shortstop as well. But even someone smaller like a Francisco Lindor, those are some of the best athletes in the game and some of the smartest players. You put them where they're most utilized, and that's in the infield, and the shortstop being kind of the quarterback of the infield. That's where they are served best. So kind of starting to see a lot more of those tall guys in there as well, like you said, since the Cal Ripken days anyway.
Because when you think back to maybe some of the more traditional and shortstop greats, I think of a guy like Ozzie Smith as Tanner Morris reaches with a walk. And Smith, super athletic, obviously. Wizard of Oz out there with the backflips and all that kind of jazz, but a smaller guy. And I think when I think middle infield, at least from my baseball experience, I think shorter guy, compact swing, going to hit for average, but more and more with the guys like Correa or when Troy Tulowitzki first came up with the Rockies organization, guys with big power.
Yeah, you think of a guy like Sahid Valenzuela out there with the Gatemen at shortstop right now. Great average hitter, small guy, but is very rangy in that infield. And now you're getting more of those guys, like you say, like a Logan Davidson, guy who can hit for some pop as well. And using him in the middle of the order as well. Down there in Falmouth, he's been mixed into that 3 and 4 spots throughout the season. So it has totally the definition of the position has changed, at least offensively.
Used to put your contact guys, you'd used to be seeing shortstops up near the top of the order. Now you're seeing guys like the Correas and like the Francisco Lindors more in the middle of the order. 1-0 the count here to Chris Gallen, the outfielder out of BC. Takes a fastball in the inside corner, 1-1. Gallen 1 for 2 today. Had runners at first and second the last time he came to the plate. Dropped down a perfect bunt single to load the bases. That coming back against Joey Barron in the 3rd inning. Gallen, a guy that had an excellent season as a freshman in the ACC, hit .316 for the Boston College Eagles in 48 games. 54 hits, 10 doubles, 2 triples with 18 RBIs, and just like his teammate Tanner Morris, was all ACC freshman team. 1-2 looped into the 3.5 full and down for a base hit. Bases loaded once again now for the Harwich Mariners, this time against Tyler Ahern. And just like in the 3rd inning, here comes Aaron Shunk.
And this is real danger time for Tyler Ahern and the Wareham Gatemen. They have not been able to get anything going offensively the last day and a half now. Tis Wareham. And now down 2-0. About to go into the second half of the game. We're in the top of the 5th right now, and the bases are loaded with nobody out. Heart of the order coming up for Harwich, a team that has struggled to score runs this year, but has regained some confidence today. Has been putting together some good at-bats, has put together some good chances. So this could get out of hand right now for the Gatemen if they don't buckle down.
And making sure that the Gatemen do buckle down is the pitching coach, Jim Lawler. He's out to the mound for a visit to discuss strategy, and you can discuss investment strategy with Joe Crespi of Merrill Lynch, who sponsors this trip to the mound from Jim Lawler. So no turnover yet in terms of getting Tyler Ahern out of the game, although over the right field wall we can make out 2 right-handers warming in the bullpen for the Gatemen. This is a bullpen day after all, and Ahern has put himself in a tough situation. Nobody out in this top of the 5th inning. Bases are loaded against him. And the Gatemen are not going to play in. They will play at double play depth, so much like the 3rd inning, they will trade 2 outs for a run. First pitch to Aaron Shunk, misses low, 1-0. And Shunk did exactly what the Gatemen wanted him to do in the last inning. Bounced into a double play, 5-4-3 in the third. So a run came in to score, but he didn't pick up an RBI. He is in the exact same situation here. 1-0 bounce to Isaac Collins on the ground. Flips to Saeed Valenzuela at second for one and on to first. Double play again. Scoring from third, Nate Eichhoff. And this is deja vu for the Gatemen at this point. The exact same thing, except last time was 5-4-3. This time 4-6-3 on the double play, but it's 3-0 Harwich.
Yeah, that one looks pretty familiar. And this is what a team like Harwich needs to do to get runs home. They struggle offensively, especially on the road, but they've got solo homer to start off the game. The 2 runs since then have had no RBI, so for them, they'll take them any way they can get them. You obviously want to do some more damage with no outs and the bases loaded, but the way the Gatemen have been swinging the bats recently, 3 looks pretty good for them.
First pitch to Andre Lipsius fouled off. 0-1 the count to the Tennessee Volunteer, who is 0 for 2 today with a pair of strikeouts. One against Kaiser, one against Joey Barron. 0-1 breaking ball in for a strike, 0-2 now. That last double play brought to you by TM Ryder Insurance Agency. Package your home and auto insurance for the perfect double play. TM Ryder, steering and securing your course for insurance since 1877. Good stop from Drew Millis behind the plate. Tanner Morris still a threat on at third base. 1-2 the count with 2 outs. Harwich trying to add to an already commanding lead, I guess you could say, especially with the way the Gatemen have been swinging the bats. It's 3-0 in the top of the 5th inning. 1-2 for Mayhearn, shot foul. We'll do it again. Lipsius, one of the all-stars on this team for the Harwich Mariners, and they won't have to go very far to play in that all-star game next weekend. It's at their own home park. Another 1-2 for Mayhearn. Bounce to the third base side, but foul. Ryan Kreidler gloved it anyways. Still 1-2. And Lipsius has come to the plate in this situation, scoring position 2 outs a couple of times this season. In 21 at-bats, he's at a 190 average with 5 RBIs. And in general, the numbers are decent for Harwich in terms of scoring position in 2 outs, a 254 average as a team. Drew Millis working hard behind home plate, trying to keep that run away from the scoreboard. 3-0 Harwich right now with Tanner Morris just 90 feet away. Another 2-strike pitch from Ahern, and another foul ball off the bat of Andre Lipsius. We'll do it again, still 2-2. Lipsius is not a guy you're going to keep down for long, hitting over 300 on the season coming into the game. Big spot for him here, bigger spot for Tyler Ahern. 2-2 pitch, misses down and away, 3-2.
And I was just going to say, the more he works the count here, the more dangerous I think he becomes, because Ahern, heavy fastball guy, you know Lipsius is sitting on that, and now it's a 3-2 with 2 outs. You know he's coming with it, just got to see where.
3-2 breaking ball popped up, so Ahern turning to everything in the arsenal, had thrown a couple of straight fastballs, was confident that he could get the breaking ball over. That's a pretty bold move considering the way Ahern has struggled in this inning.
Yeah, and it wasn't a great breaking ball either. He kind of left it up, and Lipsius just wasn't sitting on it. As I mentioned before, he was sitting fastball, so he's able to just get a little something on it, nothing doing.
3-2 poked foul. Yeah, bat's starting to drag on here. Both guys just waiting for the other to make a mistake. Ahern up to 49 pitches in his 2 innings, up to 10 just in this one. The 11th pitch of the at-bat from the right-hander. Looped into left field and in for a base hit in front of Jeremy Idens. Morris scores from third, 4-0 Harwich in the 5th.
Well, good things come to those who wait. Wastes a couple of pitches that he doesn't like. Gets it that fastball, gets it low and inside where he wanted it, and just ropes it into left field for an RBI single, just the second RBI for the Mariners today, but what now looks like a commanding 4-0 lead.
Gatemen still with just one hit on the day. Pavin Parks, a bloop single. He'll be due up next in the 5th inning against Danny Poitamani. But first, the Gatemen pitching staff, Tyler Ahern and the Gatemen defense have to get out of this half against the Harwich offense. First pitch fastball to Brad Debo in there, 0-1. Debo 0 for 2 today. Bounced out to third base in the second, then grounded out to second base in the 4th. Called strike on the outside corner again, and Ahern has bounced back. He's ahead of the count, 0-2. Breaking ball low. Check swing, appeal down, no swing, according to the third base umpire, who's stationed just behind the pitcher's mound. Debo on the season, having a pretty good year at North Carolina State. 1-2 just misses. Looked a little bit high maybe, according to the home plate umpire. 2-2.
And like Lipsius before him, Ahern dropping in a little bit of a breaking ball, trying to take something off it on the 2-strike offering, leaves it up again, but that was an awfully good-looking pitch. I thought should have been strike 3 right there.
2-2, poked into left field, sinking line drive, but moving back on it, Jeremy Idens for out number 3. So 2 more come across to score against Tyler Ahern. Nate Eichhoff scores on another double play off the bat of Aaron Shunk. Then an RBI single for Andre Lipsius, scores Tanner Morris for the second run of the inning. It's 4-0 Harwich as we head to the top of the 6th here on the Gatemen Baseball Network.
Shop from home year-round on Gatemen.org. You can customize your Gatemen gear from any device, anywhere. We offer a large selection of apparel and unique gifts 24/7, 365. Hard to find sizes, colors, and styles. Youth Clinic registration is also available. Visit us today and remember us for holiday gifts at Gatemen.org. Cape Cod Healthcare is the leading provider of healthcare services for residents and visitors of Cape Cod, with 2 acute care hospitals and more than 450 physicians. For more information, please visit CapeCodHealth.org. Cape Cod Healthcare. Expert physicians, quality hospitals, superior care.
Mezzaluna is a family-run Italian restaurant celebrating 80 years in business. Located on Main Street in Buzzards Bay, Mezzaluna specializes in Italian cuisine, a lunch menu that's the best deal in town, and serves Cape Cod's famous prime rib every Wednesday and Saturday. Come enjoy the feast at Mezzaluna, the Italian family restaurant.
The man with the only hit of the day for the Wareham Gatemen, Pavin Parks, leads off the bottom of the 5th inning for the Wareham Gatemen here on the Gatemen Baseball Network. 4-0, the Harwich Mariners lead it over the hometown Gatemen here from Spillane Field. J.D. Rachi alongside Cameron Stewart. Danny Poitamani has been excellent on the mound. Left-hander out of Stevens Institute of Technology has given up just that one hit and only 2 base runners against him in this game. First pitch in to Pavin Parks, misses inside, 1-0. Parps a bloop single into center field back in the 2nd inning. We thought that maybe it would get a rally going for the Gatemen, and it did to some extent. They got runners to 2nd and 3rd before they were stranded there.
And I think this is a big inning for the Gatemen offensively. As I look at my scorecard here, it's not been a ground ball fest from Poitamani. A lot of fly balls out to the outfield. And we saw last inning a couple that were hit hard by Shenton and Idens. Those got to start coming around if you're Wareham or you're in some trouble.
Parks ahead of the count against Poitamani here, 2-1. And we talked about it last time that Parks was at the plate. It seems like it's 1 game on, 2-3 games off for Parks. we're about due for that time where it's 1 game on for Pavin Park, so if he can get something going here against Danny Poitamani, the Gatemen might just be in business with good hitters in Ryan Kreidler and Drew Millis behind him.
I mean, they got to get something going, at least a threat or two. It's been 15 innings since they last scored. And they haven't had too many threats in the game last night at Falmouth or today.
Only 1 inning, make it 2 now, where Gatemen have reached base. A walk to Pavin Parks. He's on for the 2nd time today. Other than that, it's been 3 innings for the Gatemen. 1 in the 1st, 2nd in the 3rd, and then the 3rd in the 4th inning. That 2nd inning was the only time where the Gatemen really got anything of substance going against Poitamani.
Yeah, and I mentioned, hasn't felt like they've had a threat in a while. They did have 2nd and 3rd in that 2nd inning, but with 2 outs, and it didn't seem too likely that the Gatemen were going to be able to score in that inning either.
Ryan Kreidler came up with runners at 1st and 2nd before flying out to right field in that inning. On a well-hit ball into the gap that we thought could have gotten down, but Ben Norman out there in right made a nice play. 0-2 the count here to the right-hander Kreidler with Pavin Parks on at first base.
And Poitamani, this will probably be his last inning, getting to that Cape League pitch count end at 67 right now. Can't imagine he'd be going too much further.
One thing that could kind of throw that number a little higher, though, is the fact that he does go to a D3 school. Probably not as strict inning counts as maybe a Division guy one would be, but Poitamani has pitched like a D1 product today. 1-2 inside. Kreidler insisted that it hit him on the elbow. The home plate umpire is having absolutely none of it, and Don Sneddon's going to come out and have a chat.
Yeah, he's just yelling at Kreidler to get back in the box. We actually get a pretty good look from up here, and I don't think it did hit him. Maybe a bit on the sleeve of the cranberry uniform, but he was really trying to sell it that time. Gatemen will take base runners any way they can get him in this stretch.
Pretty impassioned debate here for Don Sneddon. Home plate umpires kind of done talking about it now as he'll head back to his perch behind the catcher Meadows. And Don Sneddon will head back to his perch behind the protective screening in front of the third base dugout. So after a little bit of drama, it's a 2-2 count to Ryan Kreidler. Ropes one down the left field line, and that'll get down for extra bases. Pavin Parks around 2nd, heading for 3rd. He'll be held up there, but it's a double for Ryan Kreidler, and the bats have gotten going here for the Gatemen in the 5th.
Maybe a little divine intervention there for the Gatemen, trying to sell it. Ryan Kreidler that he got hit by a pitch. He's sent back to the box, and who wants to get hit by a pitch when you can rope a double down the left field line? That's what Kreidler does this time. And we talk about hasn't been a threat in a while for the Gatemen. They had 2nd and 3rd with 2 outs in the 2nd. How about 2nd and 3rd with nobody out in this frame? This is the best scoring chance the Gatemen have had in 2 games.
Same exact positioning, 2nd and 3rd as the 2nd inning. But now with just nobody out, there are a lot of ways to score runners from 2nd and 3rd with nobody out in the inning. The first pitch to Drew Millis is in there for a strike, 0-1. Millis has struggled this season in RBI situations. Just a 118 average in 17 at-bats with runners in scoring position. Only 2 RBIs. Pitch gets away from Mason Meadows. Pavin Parks chugging for home, and he is thrown out at home plate. Great reaction from Mason Meadows. A great tag from Danny Poitamani. And Don Sneddon is not pleased with the call. He'll come out and argue with the home plate umpire. Meanwhile, Kreidler did move up to 3rd on the play.
And that is probably going to change the whole complexion of this scoring opportunity for the Gatemen. You saw when the ball got away, Drew Millis is actually trying to hold Pavin Parks up, but Pavin wasn't waiting for that call from the batter Millis, which he should typically do. He was going the entire way, and it was still a pretty close play, but definitely getting the tag down on there was Poitamani, and Now all of a sudden, 1 out, your 8-9 hitters, still with a man at third, so a chance to get 1 in. But it becomes all the more harder here for the Gatemen to finally get a run on the board.
Taking a look at that last replay, it looked like, especially even when I saw it the first time, it looked like Pavin Parks started his slide a little bit too early, and then he stopped short of the home plate when he made his slide. Looking at it again here, he starts to pop up of it as if he's in, but Poitamani made the tag. I just don't think Pavin Parks got as far as he thought he did. So, a wasted opportunity for the Gatemen, at least for now. There's still a runner at third with less than 2 outs. 1 out in this inning with Ryan Kreidler at third and Drew Millis at the plate. So still a good run-scoring opportunity for Wareham. But it certainly does change the complexion, as you said, Cam. 2-1 pumped high and deep into left field, but foul. Nate Eichhoff gave it a look, but it'll get out of play.
That's not something we're used to seeing. I don't think the Gatemen have had a man thrown out at the plate this year. And they've scored on quite a few of those. Pass balls, wild pitches. They just have good instinctual base runners on this team. I just think that was the wrong read by Pavin Parks that time, and he got gunned down because of it.
2-2 hit on the ground to the third baseman. They'll sacrifice a run here. Ryan Kreidler comes in to score. Drew Millis with the RBI ground out. First run of the day for the Gatemen. It's 4-1.
Yeah, they're lucky that was only the first out that Pavin Parks was gunned down at. Because of that very play right there, you can score on the ground out. And if you're the Gatemen, it's still early enough in this game. You just want to get on the board. You want to get the ball rolling, if you will. But you just got to wonder what it could have been.
2 outs now for Skylar Hunter, who's 0 for 1 today. Flied out to center field, pumps one into right field this time around, but pretty much right at Ben Norman, who camps underneath it for out number 3. So the Gatemen finally push one across their first run in the last 15 innings. Dating back to the Falmouth Commodores game yesterday. We're headed to the top of the 6th. It's 4-1 Harwich here on the Gatemen Baseball Network.
Soft as a Grape has 10 retail locations on Cape Cod. Stop into a Soft as a Grape store for the best Cape Cod products. Stores located in Falmouth, Mashpee, Woods Hole, Hyannis, Chatham, Provincetown, Edgartown, Oak Bluffs, and Vineyard Haven. From beach day to every day, Soft as a Grape has you covered.
Whatever your goals may be, Joe Crespi and the Merrill Lynch of Taunton will work with you to develop a customized financial strategy designed to help you pursue what's important to you. Managing your wealth and listening to you is their top priority. Folks, after the game, be sure to visit El Mariachi on Main Street for the best Mexican food in Wareham. The cantina provides a delicious late-night snack accompanied by fun cocktails.
Top of the 6th inning from Spillane Field. 4-1 the lead for the Harwich Mariners, and a new arm into the game for the Gatemen once again. It's the right-hander Jack Ralston out of UCLA. This pitching change is brought to you by the Bay Point Club, Onset's 18-hole championship golf course. With a driving range open 7 days a week and senior discounts offered every day, we're always welcome to the public, so go. Get to the point. Day is done for Tyler Ahern, the right-hander out of Florida State. 2 innings, 3 hits, 2 runs, both earned, with 2 strikeouts for the Florida State Seminole.
It was just another not very good day for Tyler Ahern. As I mentioned, he doesn't have much of a breaking ball, or he doesn't like to feature it too much. And when you're firing in fastballs, that's very predictable, especially for people in the Cape League. This is the best of the best, and he is only a freshman at Florida State, about to be a sophomore, so he's still getting used to this level of competition. But that's why the walk numbers aren't that bad. It's the hit numbers. He's getting hit very hard in the Cape League this year, and it's just developing some secondary pitches and maybe getting some more movement on that fastball that he just hasn't developed yet.
So from a rising sophomore to a rising senior, Jack Ralston, the right-hander out of UCLA, big intimidating presence on the mound at 6'6", just over 230 pounds for the big right-hander. First batter he'll face is Danny Casals out of Maine. Casals has reached twice, once on a single and once on a walk. First pitch from Ralston in there for a strike on the inside corner, 0-1. Ralston's last appearance came against Brewster in a game he really struggled to find the strike zone, especially with the fastball. It looked like he was just overthrowing it in that game. One to one the count from the big right-hander to Danny Casals. Comes set his pitch. Hit on the ground to the shortstop. Valenzuela picks it on a backhand. Throw in the dirt, gets over the head of Austin Shenton, who tried to pick it. Casals up to second base, and not the way you want to get this inning going defensively if you're the Gatemen. That should go as a throwing error against Sahid Valenzuela.
And not something we typically see from Valenzuela there. He just tried to hurry this play up a bit too much. It was a hard hit ball, and he's right on it as he has to backhand it to get it, but just tried to rush the throw, and it came back to bite him in the dirt. It would have been a tough pick for any first baseman, let alone an inexperienced one in Austin Shenton. Not a good throw over there, and a deserving error there for Sahid Valenzuela.
Third error of the day for the Gatemen, and all of them have come in some form against Danny Casals. He has been the beneficiary of defensive lapses today for Wareham. So a runner on at second for Ben Norman, who's 0 for 2 today. 2 strikeouts for the Iowa Hawkeye. Now this pitch gets away from Drew Millis, and Casals will move up to third on a wild pitch. So Danny Casals quickly making his way around the base paths, and it's really been nothing by his doing.
Yeah, and this is not the way the Gatemen want this to go in a shutdown inning where you're really trying to get back in the game desperately. Now you got to pull the infield in because all you've given up is a ground ball this inning, and there's a guy at third base. That's just not the way you want it to go.
So runner on at third, nobody out against Ben Norman. 1-0 pitch to him is waved on and missed. Good stop behind home plate by Drew Millis. Norman, as we mentioned, 0 for 2 today with a pair of strikeouts. I'll look to change that and add to this Harwich lead. It's 4-1 in the top of the 6th inning. Breaking ball from Ralston that time. First time we've seen him rip off one of those bad boys in this game. It's 1-2.
Yeah, he actually tried to rip one off in warm-ups. One of the last warm-up pitches he threw was way over the head of Drew Millis, but he's able to snap that one down. It's got some serious bite when it's going.
Runner at third, the 1-2 pitch from Ralston. Breaking ball misses low and inside, 2-2. Ralston with an 8.30 ERA this season, and that's been much inflated after giving up 4 runs in a third of an inning against Brewster back on July 10th at Stony Brook Field. 2-2 low, 3-2 now to Norman, and he's clawed his way back into this count after starting off 0-2.
Yeah, he knows that I don't think Ralston can put out some of his very best stuff yet, that one in the dirt, but he doesn't want a ball getting past Drew Millis, another run coming in, so he's able to work the count a little more easily this time.
Payoff pitch from Ralston. Misses low. On with the walk. Now runners at the corners. Ben Norman walks for Mason Meadows.
He didn't worry too much that time, though, did he? Brought this one low and in. Got it to snap a bit. It was a good block by Drew Millis, but still not biting there was Norman, so things start to get a little more hairy.
First and third now for Mason Meadows. 0 for 2 today for the catcher out of Georgia. Flied out to center field in the second and then struck out swinging in the third against Joey Barron. First pitch misses low in the dirt, 1-0, and this has been the big indicator of success. First 2 outings of the season for Jack Ralston. 2 innings scoreless, both at Hyannis. 1 in the 9-1 loss, 1 in the 17-4 win, so low leverage situations. A bit higher of a leverage situation here today, but the real indicator of his success has not only been what kind of situation he comes into, but also what kind of control he has over the breaking ball and the fastball for that matter.
Yeah, and we have seen a lack of control from him so far this inning. It's not something you can typically pick up during the middle of an appearance. You kind of either have it or you don't. The guys are biting at it or they're not, but Ralston's going to have to dig deep and find something here, or else this game, once again, as we said the last inning, could very well get out of hand.
This is a kid with a big, strong arm. Firm, hard fastball coming out of his hand. It's just been, the location has not been where it needs to be. And another pitch in the dirt, and Norman's up to second.
And there's the prime example of it right there. This one just getting away from Millis, an easy advance for Ben Norman. Not going to throw down anyway and risk another error maybe to get Casals in for a run, but now it just becomes worse. You take that force out, and 2 men in scoring position, got to bring the infield in.
Get me over fastball, misses outside and high. Back-to-back walks for Jack Ralston after Danny Casals reached on an error, and now the bases are loaded for the Harwich Mariners. They don't have a hit in the inning.
Yeah, this is obviously didn't get the start you wanted from the Sahid Valenzuela error. Again, that was pretty much a routine ground ball to him at shortstop. So you get that. A couple of pitches get away from Millis to advance runners, and a couple of walks later, you've got the bases loaded. It is at the bottom of the order right now, the number 9 man, but this guy who homered last night, Nate Eichhoff, so he isn't very much of a slouch down there in the number 9 spot.
Certainly is, and he's already reached base and scored 2 runs today in his first 2 plate appearances. Struck out in the third, but advanced to first on a drop third strike, and then singled and scored a run in the 5th. And Jim Lawler's back out to the mound to discuss strategy, and you can discuss investment strategy with Joe Crespi of Merrill Lynch, who sponsors this trip to the mound.
Yeah, we can't really tell the action down there in the Wareham bullpen because of the green fence out there, but got to imagine if they haven't gotten someone warm yet, they're starting to throw very hard down there. Ralston, I just don't think, has it today, and this could get very, very ugly.
Bases loaded against him with Nate Eichhoff at the plate in a 1-0 count against the Virginia Cavalier. He's already reached base twice today, as we mentioned. Trying to do it again here, and at this point, you got to think he's looking one pitch, one location, even with a 1-0 count against him, because Ralston has struggled so much with the location.
Yeah, because of that struggling, you almost add a ball to every count when you're going up there. You'd be taking on 2-0, which is going to be at right now, possibly even, whereas normally you're sitting on a fastball. You think he's got to get a pitch over. It's probably going to be a fastball, but right now, Ralston's thrown so many breaking balls and has missed on so many, you really don't know what's coming. So I think you just play each pitch with an extra ball.
That one misses low. It's now 3-0 to Eichhoff, and just one pitch out of the strike zone away from a 5-1 lead for the Harwich Mariners. Top of the 6th, it's 4-1 right now, Harwich. Bases loaded. Nobody out for Nate Eichhoff. Pitch misses up. An RBI walk for Eichhoff. He reaches base for the 3rd time today. And it's a 5-1 lead for the Mariners as Danny Casals touches home plate after walking home.
We're going to have a pitching change here from Spillane. Not the night Ralston wanted on the mound. Just didn't have the location tonight.
And just like we saw against Brewster, we'll go from Jack Ralston to Brendan White, the right-hander out of Siena, coming into the game when we come back on the Gatemen Baseball Network.
Learning at Curry College extends beyond the classroom and students to engage in successful careers and active citizenship with a global perspective. Explore undergraduate majors, minors, and concentrations, including new majors in accounting, biochemistry, and software development online at www.curry.edu.
Get Gatemen gear. Check out the latest styles and colors of your favorite Gatemen apparel. Also in stock, a large selection of Cape League items, including tickets to the All-Star Game. Test your pitching speed and pick up a souvenir ball, all at our merchandise booth.
Since 1950, Morse Insurance has consistently offered the best insurance at competitive rates to generations of clients in southern Massachusetts. If you're frustrated with paying for what essentially feels like just a piece of paper, it's time for you to check out the one-of-a-kind client experience that only Morse Insurance can deliver.
Another pitching change here for the Gatemen, brought to you by the Bay Point Club. Onset's 18-hole championship golf course with a driving range open 7 days a week and senior discounts offered every day. We're always welcome to the public, so go get to the point. Right-hander Brendan White out of Siena into the game, 6 foot 175, heading into his junior season. Made one appearance with the Gatemen last year. This will be his 7th appearance of the season with Wareham this time around, and his last time out was an excellent outing. Got our player of the game and an 8-1 loss to the Brewster Whitecaps. Went 4 2/3 innings of long relief. Gave up 2 runs, 1 earned, 3 hits, a walk, and 4 strikeouts for the rising junior out of Mahopac, New York.
And that ERA, you got to think is going to jump for Jack Ralston. He did allow a run to come in on that last walk, but it was unearned as that man, Danny Casals, who came home to score, reached on an error. But with no out recorded, there's still the bases loaded. So all of these are his responsibility no matter what Brendan White does.
White's job now is to mitigate the damage as much as he can. But it's the top of the order and a man that's already reached 3 times today in Tanner Morris. First pitch fastball on the outside corner, called strike to the left-handed bat out of UVA, 0-1. Ben Norman, the runner at third, Mason Meadows at second, with Nate Eichhoff at first base. Infield at double play depth, they'll trade 2 runs for an out again here. 0-1 dribbled foul, 0-2. Third time that, or really 4th time now, I guess you could say, that the Harwich Mariners have had the bases loaded 2 times earlier in the game, once already in this inning, and now here again with Tanner Morris, who is 2 for 2 with a home run, a single, and a walk at the plate.
When you're a struggling team offensively, obviously that goes to say this is a position you like to be in. So many ways you can score runs here. We even saw one score today on double plays with the bases loaded and nobody out. So they'll take them any way they can get them. That obviously makes it a lot easier when you've got the bases loaded and nobody out.
That's a good stop by Drew Millis on a breaking ball that squirted away from him in the dirt, but he kept it close enough to him so nobody could advance. Nobody could come in to score. So still 2 strikes against Tanner Morris. 1-2 from White. Flare down the left field line, foul. We'll do it again. 4 2/3 innings, by far the longest outing of the season for Brendan White. In his last appearance, the longest before that was 2 innings on opening day versus Chatham, in which he picked up the win. That one skied high and deep out to left field. Iden's back on it, tagging from third and in to score. Here comes Ben Norman, and it's now 6-1 Harwich on the sacrifice fly and the RBI for Tanner Morris.
This was almost trouble out there as Idens was going back. When he caught this, this was right on the foul line. So if that had dropped, it very well could have landed in fair territory and brought a few more home. So good awareness for him to get out there and not give up on the play.
So 2 RBIs on the day for Tanner Morris, 1 on the solo homer in the first, and now the 2nd on the sac fly here in the 6th. Still danger, though, just 1 out. Nobody else moved up on the play, so runners at first and second for Chris Galland. Galland 2 for 3 on the day. Flied out to right in his first at-bat. Bunt single in the third and then a single in the fifth. Coming into today's game, hitting just .240 on the season, but as we mentioned the last time he came to the plate, he had an excellent season this year at Boston College. He'll try to add to an excellent day at the plate thus far in this inning. Ropes one into the left center field gap. Jeremy Idens on the run, though, makes the play. Moving up to second, a throw comes in. Isaac Collins couldn't hang on to it at second base. It looked like Mason Meadows might have been safe either way. They nearly doubled him off, though, to end the inning.
Yeah, and that wasn't terrific base running by Meadows, but this was a sinking liner that Idens makes look easy out there. That's not a very easy play out there in left field, but I think Meadows was still too far off second base, and he was lucky to get back in there. Idens kind of had to twist around to make that throw into second base.
And it's not a guy like maybe Chris Galland if he had been on at second, or Ben Norman had been on at second with speed. It's a lumbering catcher in Mason Meadows that had to make his way all the way back to second. He was pretty confident it was going to get down, but Jeremy Idens with a nice glove out there has showed his versatility as a defender this season for the Gatemen. First pitch to Aaron Shunk, bounced down the third baseline and foul. Shunk is 0 for 3 today. He's technically driven in 2 runs, but has not picked up an RBI. He has bounced into 2 double plays, 5-4-3 that produced a run, and 4-6-3 that produced a run in the third and fifth innings.
You should get like an assist for those. Should
maybe a half RBI each?
Yeah. A little hockey assist. Secondary.
Secondary, that's right. Unfortunately, baseball does not have that. That is not one of the...
And when you think about it, that's kind of reasonable.
Yeah.
Both times with the bases loaded, nobody out, he grounds it to double plays. I don't know if he should be rewarded for that.
He would have rather done something else with the ball, I'm sure. Fouls that one off his leg. Still no indication that it was foul. Drew Millis pops out, although it looked pretty obvious that it had rolled off him.
Yeah, it was clear, but good on Millis. As you mentioned, that was a very late call for whatever reason. Usually you see the arms shoot right up from the home plate umpire, but Millis wants to get out of this inning just as badly as everyone else on the field for the Gatemen.
So 2 strikes against Aaron Shunk. Brendan White trying to shut it down. Here in the 6th inning, already 2 runs have come across to score. 2 of the 6 on the day for Harwich. 1-2. Breaking ball low, 2-2. Jack Ralston got this inning started on the mound for the Gatemen. Had Casals reach on an error, then issued 3 consecutive walks before being lifted in favor of White in the inning. Both runs that have come across to score will go against him, only one of them earned though. 2-2 in the dirt, 3-2.
And Danny Poinamani's day might be done for the Mariners as they've got someone warming up in their bullpen, but unfortunately from the Gatemen perspective, it's another lefty getting loose and will probably come into the game.
Gatemen have struggled mightily against left-handers this season with a lefty-heavy lineup. 3-2 runners off, pitch misses up and in. The bases are loaded once again with 2 outs.
First baseman, number 13, Andre Lipsius.
Andre Lipsius, the Tennessee Volunteer, into the batter's box. He's 1 for 3 on the day. We mentioned in his last at-bat, you're not going to keep him down for long. He's an all-star for a reason. He will try to keep things going, keep this inning alive, and add on to the 5-run lead. First pitch fastball in there for a called strike to him, 0-1. Struck out in the first against Kaiser, in the third against Joey Barron, and then singled off of Tyler Ahern in the 5th inning. One big rip and a miss at a good fastball from Brendan White. Quickly 0-2.
We don't see too many harder out of the hands of Brendan White than that last pitch. Had Lipsius at his heels on that swing. For a guy who plays in the SEC and is on the All-Star team in the Cape, that's pretty impressive there from the Siena State, Brendan White.
0-2, called strike 3 on the outside corner. and Brendan White leaves him loaded in the 6th with a gigantic strikeout. First strikeout of the day for him, brought to you by Lang, Exaforest, and Bullard. But 2 runs come across to score, and the Harwich Mariners bump up their lead to 6-1 as we head to the home half of the 6th here from Spillane Field. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, our beat writer Ian Viscera will have the final Cape League update of the game when we come back on the Gatemen Baseball Network.
The 2018 Cape League All-Star Game will be played at White House Field in Harwich Sunday, July 22nd. Game time is 6 p.m., gates open at 2. One highlight will be the Cumberland Farms home run hitting contest. There will also be an autograph session and a large merchandise village with items from many of the teams. Support the Gatemen in part by purchasing your ticket right now at the merchandise booth. Tickets are just $5.
And it's time for the second and final Cape League update of the night. 2 games have gone final across the league, and the big story is the game between the Orleans Firebirds and Brewster Whitecaps. In that game, the Firebirds won 3-2, and Orleans actually threw a no-hitter. Mitchell Senger went 8 innings.
Beach House Grill at Chatham Bars and Resort and Spa is the perfect
came in to record the save, and that is the first no-hitter of the Cape League this season. Over in Falmouth, the Commodores won that game, going away 8-1. That one has gone final over Katuitt. They've gotten a good starting pitching performance for the second straight night as Adam Lasky went 6 innings to record the win. The YD Red Sox are ahead yet again as they are winning 3-0 in their game. Andrew Doshbach hit a 2-run homer in the first, and they also got a solo home run in the second inning as well to increase their lead. And then over in Bourne, things aren't looking good for the Braves as they look to snap a 4-game losing streak. The Hyannis Harbor Hawks are ahead 4-0 as that game's in the bottom of the 5th. That's the second and final Cape League update of the night. Back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Ian. As always, right now here at Spillane Field, it's a 6-1 lead for the Harwich Mariners over the Wareham Gatemen. A new pitcher into the game. Danny Poitamani's day is done, although this is a bit of a mystery man.
This is bizarre. We just hear about a no-hitter in which 2 runs were scored, and now we've got a guy who no one knows who he is. Not listed on the roster, left-hander, number 15. We can give you that. But not
that means anything to anybody out there.
If anyone, please help us out.
We've got multiple copies between Point Streak, between stat sheets, between our own research of this Harwich roster, and this kid is nowhere to be found. His first pitch to Isaac Collins misses outside 1-0.
A modern-day D.B. Cooper out on the mound for the Harwich Mariners today. Or the man with no name, Clint Eastwood, maybe? This is bizarre. We've never run into this issue.
Isaac Collins is ahead of him 2-0 as the Gatemen try to muster some offense here in the 6th inning, trailing it by 5. They broke the scoreless drought in the last inning against Poitamani, who had an excellent day, and now a little line drive into the ground from Isaac Collins. And a good play from Tanner Morris to first in time, out number 1.
Yeah, that might have busted the bat there right off the end of it for Isaac Collins. Uncharacteristic for him now, 0 for 3 day. Struggled last night as well. But, I mean, that's been characteristic of the entire Gatemen offense the last 2 or 3 games. 2 games, I should say. The third one, they scored 9 runs.
First pitch to Sahid Valenzuela from the mystery man, up high, 1-0. We are working to find out who this is.
Got our top people on it right now. Big J journalism about to happen here at Spillane Field.
Even count, a ball and a strike against Valenzuela, who is 0 for 2 on the day. Grounded out to the shortstop, Tanner Morris, and then flied out to left field in the 3rd. And we have identified who it is. It's an all-star, actually. Andrew Miziazik out of Northeastern into the game. Looks like a jersey change of some variety.
Must have been. Listed as 24 on every roster they have. But 15 today. Maybe just felt like it.
1-2 fouled off. Sahid Valenzuela stays alive against the mystery man turned Andrew Miziazik heading into his senior season at Northeastern. He's an all-star for a reason. ERA below 1. .77 on the season in 12 appearances. 1-2 though to Zahid Valenzuela is pumped down the left field line. It's good. It's gone if it's fair. Excuse me, but it gets foul. So Valenzuela puts a charge into one. We saw one similar to that at Lowell Park a couple of days ago.
And that ball was absolutely smoked off of Zahid Valenzuela's bat. I had the round tripper going the whole time right off it, but just fouled down that left field line. That would have been a nice moment, nice feeling for Zahid Valenzuela, who's been scuffling as of late. And for the Gatemen, just to see that they can get that big hit. Obviously, it only would have been 1 run and would only cut the lead to 4, but just to see that, probably brings some confidence for this Gatemen offense.
Well, looks like Aaron Shunk's having a problem at third base, but he's all good to go. 1-2 still to count to Zahid Valenzuela from Andrew Miziazik out of Northeastern in Oceanside, New York. Pitch in the dirt, 2-2. Can't get much better than what Miziazik has done this season. Opponent batting average at 190, but Zahid Valenzuela delivers a single into left field, so not quite the home run that he almost had, but it is a hit. Just the third of the day for Gatemen batters. There's 1 on and 1 out for Austin Shenton.
Yeah, maybe that jersey change isn't a great thing for Miziazik, as this one, the almost home run there we talked about was smoked, so was this one right on the buttons from Zahid Valenzuela. Will only go down as a single, but he hit that ball real hard, and when you're going into the meat of your order here for the Gatemen, that's something you like to see.
First pitch to Shenton is roped into the right center field gap, and that'll get down. Rolling all the way to the wall, Mike Mobbs will hold up Zahid Valenzuela at third base, but back-to-back hits now for the Gatemen. They're in business, runners at second and third for one of the hotter hitters on this Wareham team, Jeremy Idens.
And you could tell Mike Mobbs down there at third base really wanted to send Valenzuela home. This one didn't quite get to the wall out there in right center, so a good hold-up for him to keep Valenzuela over there at third. But real prime opportunity for Jeremy Idens. Less than 2 outs, a couple of guys in scoring position. A hit here could bring the Gatemen right back in the game.
And this game, I should say, is far from over for the Gatemen with the quick strike capability that the Gatemen have had at times this season. The Gatemen are by far still very much in this game if Jeremy Idens can deliver here. Hasn't been a lot of power in the lineup since Bryant Packard and Andrew Vaughn and Bryson Stott left for Team USA, but a home run has come off the bat of Idens at this park. A couple of weeks ago, a homer into the left center field bleachers. So things could get going with one swing of the bat. Flies that one out to right field. It will not get down. Hangs up in the air for the right fielder, Ben Norman, but tagging and scoring from third is Zahid Valenzuela. An RBI sac fly from Jeremy Idens, and the Gatemen cut into the lead. They trail it by 4 now, 6-2.
Yeah, you're getting at the point in the game, I always say, from about the 7th inning on, where you really don't want to trade runs for outs, but haven't quite gotten there yet. Just something to get some runs across the board and instill some confidence in that Gatemen dugout. Obviously not the big hit they were looking for from their cleanup hitter, but that'll get the job done. You got a guy on now who we've mentioned already several times today is an on-base machine in Goldfarb.
Goldfarb has been on once today out of 2 plate appearances. He was hit by a pitch in the 2nd inning, then grounded out 4-3 to the second baseman Danny Casals back in the 4th. Try to do more than just be hit by a pitch here against Miziazik. Shoots one into left field. Backing up on it is Nate Eichhoff, and it hangs up for him for out number 3. The Gatemen do get 1 run across, though. An RBI sac fly from Jeremy Idens. Plates Zahid Valenzuela. They cut into the lead ever so slightly. It's 6-2 Harwich here on the Gatemen Baseball Network.
Head on over to BB's Bar and Grill for food, drinks, and highway. Come in to sample the scrumptious fare or relax with a drink while enjoying live entertainment. The Gatemen thank BB's Bar and Grill for their support.
The law firm of Lang, Exifaris & Bullard, providing families and businesses in the greater New Bedford community with legal services for 40 years. We look forward to serving you. For an appointment, call 508-992-1270. We invite you to learn more about the law firm of Lang, Exafaris and Bullard by visiting our website, lxblaw.com.
Stop by the Ansel S. Gurney House, where you will find a unique shopping and dining experience. Whether shopping for a special occasion or just to treat yourself, you'll find what you're looking for in one of the 11 themed rooms. There's also a cafe serving fresh homemade lunches overlooking the extensive gardens. The Ansel S. Gurney House is located at 403 County Road in Marion.
Brendan White back to the mound, and a new catcher behind home plate for him. Luke Roscom will replace Drew Millis. So Millis' day is done. He got battered behind there a couple of times after trying to come back from what we'll call a stinger a couple of nights ago, but his day is done. Brendan White back for his second inning of work. Last time he helped the Gatemen get out of a very tough situation with just 2 runs across against them. But now it's back toward the middle of the order. Brad Debo, the DH, will lead it off.
And Roscom coming in, a bit of a hotter bat than Millis as well. And his spot will be due up in the next inning, so be interesting to see if he can try and bring some spark back to the Gatemen lineup. I think Millis is a better defensive catcher, although he's been battered around today, but this is a chance to give him the rest of the night off and try to install some more offense in to the Gatemen today.
Offense has certainly been lacking, I think is the best word, over the last 2 days, but we didn't see so many struggles from the pitching staff yesterday as we have today.
Yeah, the pitching was good yesterday, especially Derek West, who was our player of the game, was a real horse for them. I mean, literally coming off 2 homers. That was the offense for Falmouth, 2 by Austin Langworthy. So, I mean, you can't fault that. That's a great player, one of the best players on one of the best teams in the country during college baseball season. So it's just a bit of a tough one, the Gatemen, but as you said, it was that offense that couldn't come through for them yesterday and hasn't come through enough for them today. Also, but the pitching staff really hasn't been there either.
Brendan White trying to turn that attitude around here, try to get a productive outing. Joey Barron and Tyler Kaiser were great. Things started to fall apart once Tyler Ahern come into the game. Both Barron and Kaiser gave up a run, but if it had just been their efforts, as that one is shot into left field in front of Jeremy Idens for a hit, if it had just been Kaiser and Barron, this game would be tied, but Ahern and Ralston both giving up 2 runs each, and it's a 4-run ball game in the 7th. Debo on for the first time today. And with that, everybody in the starting lineup for this Harwich Mariners team has reached base at least once.
And this guy up at the plate right now has probably wreaked the most havoc in the 6-run ball game. Hasn't driven in a run, but has really created fits for the Gatemen defense.
Danny Casals, the second baseman out of Maine. 3 errors on the day for the Gatemen, and Casals has been in some way involved in every single one of them. First one, he singled into right field that bounced over the glove of Jacob Goldfarb, E9, as he moved up to second. Second one, he was on first base for a strikeout of Ben Norman, the next player in the order, for the Harwich Mariners. They tried to throw down off the strikeout and pick him off at first and back pick him. Got away into right field. He reached second on the error against Drew Millis. Then in the 6th inning, one bounced right to Sahid Valenzuela. Comes up throwing, throws in the dirt, skips over the glove of Austin Shenton, 2-base E6 on the throw from Sahid Valenzuela. So Danny Casals' day has certainly been an interesting one.
Yeah, it sure has. And yeah, you mentioned it. I mean, just taking what the defense has given him, been a sloppy day for the Gatemen defensively. We've been saying that a lot more the last week and a half from the Wareham perspective. And I mean, it's got to be said, a guy like that can control the game just on the base paths.
Good stop from Luke Roscom to keep that ball in front of him.
And that was something I was hoping for the Gatemen to have today. As I mentioned in our pregame show, they didn't get a lot of guys on base last night. They were trying to push the envelope any way they could, and I was hoping that we'd see some more of that. Unfortunately, we've seen some mistakes, including Paven Parks being thrown out at the plate, trying to advance on a wild pitch.
This ball is popped up foul down the first base side. Austin Shenton over to make the play, and he makes it in fair play. There is an area over down that first base side where our wonderful cameraman, Jesse Ruiz, is standing. That would have been out of play and would not have counted, but Austin Shenton navigated his way around him and records the out for the first out of the inning.
And thanks to Jesse Ruiz as well, you also got to see two of our colleagues, Dan Longton and Mary Orders, scramble out of the way of that one. Real athletic instincts there from both of them.
Listen, both college athletes.
Can't argue with that. Those are facts.
Dan Longton, former tennis player at Franklin Pierce. Mary Orders, our sideline reporter, runs cross-country at Northwestern. So, athleticism throughout this Gatemen Baseball Network broadcast team.
I'd put them on the same pedestal there. Both college athletes, that's all we need to say.
0-1 inside now to Ben Norman, who is 0 for 2 on the day, has reached base and scored a run with a walk in the 6th inning. I'd like to argue that I might be the most athletic out of this bunch.
Please, state your case. This is a free country.
I just am. Just fact of the matter. Runners off with the pitch. Throw down from Luke Roscom, and it is perfect. Nails Brad Debo trying to move up to second base. Caught stealing 2-6 on the putout. There are now 2 gone, and a 1-2 count to Ben Norman.
Well, I know Brad Debo can't hang on our broadcast staff as far as athleticism. He was dead to rights there. I mean, they were just waiting for him at second base.
All I'm saying, Mary Orders tries to steal a base against Luke Roscom. She makes it.
I think you can put up a pretty legitimate case. Give Dan Longton a head of steam, a good jump. It's real short distance for him to sprint. I think he can get that too.
Long legs, big tall guy.
Yeah, used to working side to side on the tennis court. Trevor Russo is another story.
Yes. Definitely best speed on this team by a wide margin. Tufts rugby player. So there are so many athletes just littering this broadcast team. Henrique de Moore, former varsity baseball player.
There you go. Somewhere on there's a former varsity lacrosse captain.
Might be Cameron Stewart.
Might be.
Just might be.
Might be the first Rockland High lacrosse player to play college lacrosse, too.
Really?
Might be, yeah.
3-2 low. Misses to Ben Norman. He's on with his second walk of the day.
Little fall ball at Baylor. Nothing too serious.
Does Baylor have a varsity program?
Not varsity. Club team. That has gotten significantly better since I stopped playing fall ball, actually. Believe it or not.
Hey, but at one time, you were representing Baylor University. Sick 'em.
Sure did. I sicked 'em. I sick 'em every day, actually. I can't put that in the past tense. All I do is sick 'em. I do my good turn daily, and then I sick 'em. That's all.
I might be the only one that has never played either a varsity sport in high school or in a diving stop by Sahid Valenzuela. Spin and a throw. He got him. Wow, what a play from Sahid Valenzuela. Making up for the error earlier in the game, and that retires the side in the 7th. I want to talk about athletes. Let's talk about Sahid Valenzuela. That does it for the top of the 7th inning. We're headed to the home half. Pavin Parks coming to the plate when we come back on the Gatemen Baseball Network.
The Bay Point Golf Club offers a unique collection of banquet facility and a club host that has a fully stocked pro shop. The Bay Point Grill is a perfect place to grab a meal or watch a game. The course is located off of Onset Avenue in Buzzards Bay. The Gatemen thank you for your support.
Are you hungry? Visit the concession stand for some new menu items. Try fried dough, chicken fingers, or french fries along with your regular favorites, hot dogs, burgers, cold drinks, and ice cream. Proceeds from the concession stand support the Gatemen and the Wareham High DECA program. Got legal trouble? Attorney Mark Deshays is here to help the greater New Bedford area with real estate and business law, estate planning, and probate. Visit him today.
Back at Spillane Field, bottom half of the 7th inning, Andrew Miziazik wearing the wrong number back to the mound. Left-hander out of Northeastern. And Pavin Parks, Ryan Kreidler, and now Luke Roscom due up in the inning for the Gatemen. Very crucial part of this game. They trail it by 4 in the last third of the innings that they will come to the plate. So it's pretty much becoming now or never for the Gatemen to get it going.
Yeah, and you've got a guy starting it with Pavin Parks who's gotten on base twice today. Ryan Kreidler, the hard hit double the last time up as well, are your top 2 guys. Need them to continue to have good days and keep things going. And then you've got that catcher spot, which, as I mentioned in the last half inning, goes to Luke Roscom, who's had a better bat going than Drew Millis has. So this has potential, this inning. You're working a couple of lefties against the lefty, Miziazik, but some hard hit balls off him in the last inning.
Pavin Parks is the only Gateman today to reach base twice. He singled in the 2nd inning, then walked in the 5th before being cut down at the plate, trying to score on a wild pitch. Try to reach for the 3rd time today. It won't be an easy task against a good left-hander in Miziazik, who came into the game with a sub-1 ERA. 1 earned run coming across to score against him in the 6th, though, so the Gatemen have figured him out to some degree. And like I said, this seems like a Pavin Parks kind of game. 1 game on, couple games off. This seems like an on day for Parks, who's already reached twice.
Yeah, and he's reached twice both against lefties, which he has struggled mightily against. We mentioned those guys in the Gatemen lineup who struggle against them mightily, especially a guy like Miziazik with that sub-1 ERA, but Shenton had a long, hard-hit double against him as well.
Skies one out into deep left field, but Nate Eichhoff plants underneath it, 1 gone.
Baseman number 5, Ryan Kreidler from UCLA.
So 1 gone for Kreidler. Kreidler's also gotten the bat going. A hard hit ball in the 2nd inning that was gloved by a racing Ben Norman into the right center field gap, and then a double and a run scored in the 5th for him down the left field line. First pitch misses low, 1-0. This one skied down the right field side. The right fielder, Ben Norman, chasing it over toward the fence. He slides into it, but can't come up with it. That was a very dangerous play for a ball that really seemed uncatchable from almost the very start.
Yeah, it was kind of what we call a low percentage play out there in right field, and he just went crashing into that wall. Lucky to jam anything in his leg or anything like that. But, I mean, you got to give him some credit. 6-2 ball game. Team that really needs to start stringing together some wins. We talked about it in the pregame and in the pregame back on Saturday. Excuse me, the postgame back on Saturday. Harwich is a team that's really scuffling in that Eastern Division, and they need to start getting some things going. This would be a huge win for them today if they're able to hold on.
Especially with Hyannis winning their game as of now against the Bourne Braves. The lead could become ever so closer in the West if the Gatemen can't pull it out today, and that won't help. Ryan Kreidler pops out to the 2nd baseman, Danny Casals, and there are 2 gone.
The catcher number 14, Luke Roscom from Nebraska.
So Luke Roscom, the big lefty out of the University of Nebraska, rides in. His first pitch to him is swung on and tapped back up the middle, right into the glove of Miziazik, and a throw over to first base in time. 3 up, 3 down for the Gatemen in the 7th. We're headed to the top of the 8th, a 6-2 lead for the Harwich Mariners over the Wareham Gatemen. It's been a tough day, to say the least, for the Gatemen. The offense continues to struggle, Cam.
Yeah, I mean, just haven't been able to get anything going. 2 runs in the last 2 games for them. They haven't even been leaving guys on base. It's just been quick outs, fly outs, which means they're probably pretty tired. They've been playing a lot as of late. Finally get an off day tomorrow, but they got to figure something out.
Trying to figure it out as the innings continue to progress, and now Mary Orders is with head coach Don Sneddon. What do they have to do to try to figure it out? Mary, take it away.
Is the perfect spot for a seaside
Thanks, guys. So, Coach, what needs to happen to try to get this win?
Well, we're out of sync again. Our pitching hasn't been real good. We've walked 8 guys, and they've capitalized on that. And we've hit some balls hard, just right at somebody. And unfortunately, they've hit not some balls hard. They got base hits on that. So that's that game of baseball again. It just drives you crazy.
Any positives you can take away so far?
Not too much going on right now. We'll just see how we can battle back in this last part through here. We're running a lot of pitchers out there and see what they can do. So the positive, they get some innings in and get them ready for this last stretch on here. So hopefully they can learn and feel more comfortable going out on that mound.
Coach, thanks so much. Guys, back to you.
Mary, thank you very much, Mary. Things have certainly been out of sync over the last 2 days for the Gatemen, offensively especially, but they will try to keep things going when they come to the plate again, but for right now, the focus has to be on keeping this at just a 4-run ball game, and another pitching change for the Gatemen is brought to you by the Bay Point Club on Set's 18-hole championship golf course. With the driving range open 7 days a week and senior discounts offered every day, we're always welcome to the public, so go. Get to the point. Big right-hander Ryan Stoudemire out of Charleston Southern is into the game for Wareham. He's been impressive in his last couple of outings.
Yeah, he hasn't allowed a run in his last 2 outings. Has Stoudemire got to close the door back on Monday, the 4-1 win against the Whitecaps. So he's been put in some bigger situations. Obviously, this is not the ideal situation for him here. Down 6-2 are the Gatemen in the 8th inning, but they're trying to get something going, and it starts with that pitching staff, which has not been on point today for the Gatemen. So crucial for him to put up a 0 here.
And it seems like every outing he just gets a little bit better. Really struggled at the beginning of the season through the first 2 games. Went 2/3 of an inning, gave up a run against Cotuit. Went 1 inning, gave up a run against Orleans. Since then, in the last 4 outings, has yet to give up a run in those last 4. The ERA at 2.45 on the season. Big righty, 6'3", 250 pounds, out of Charleston Southern. He'll deal with 9-1-2. Eichhoff, Morris, and Gallen due up for the Harwich Mariners in the inning. Eichhoff has wreaked havoc today on the base paths. He's reached all 3 times he's come to the plate. Struck out but reached on a drop third strike in the 3rd. Singled and scored a run in the 5th. Also drove in a run on that single and then walked in the 6th inning. 1-0 pitch misses in the dirt, 2-0 from Ryan Stoudemire out of Pomeria, South Carolina. Fouled off down the left field line, 2-1. Eichhoff, one of 2 Virginia Wahoos in the lineup today. He'll turn the lineup over to the other one, Tanner Morris, after his at-bat. Good pitch on the outside corner from Ryan Stoudemire. It's 2-2 now to Nate Eichhoff, excuse me.
And if Stoudemire can have that pitch in his arsenal, he's going to be in really good shape. That's absolutely unhittable to a lefty on the outside corner. It's never a strike until it hits the catcher's mitt. Eichhoff fouls that one off behind home plate. Thought we almost had another drop third strike scenario, but home plate umpire says he did get a piece of it, because going back to that drop third strike in the 3rd inning, that was almost the exact same play. I thought in that inning that there might have been a foul tip, but it just got away from Drew Millis. Yeah, and that kind of opened the floodgates. That guy came around to score. Bases were loaded again in that inning. Back up the middle. Stoudemire tried to glove it on its way by, but couldn't get the glove out there quite quickly enough. Eichhoff on for the 4th time today, this time with a single. His 2nd hit. 1 on, nobody out. Top of the order. This one doesn't have the bite that Stoudemire wants. That just hangs out over the plate. And a good hitter like Eichhoff, who already has gotten on base 3 times going into that at-bat, is going to rope that one right up the middle. Easy pickings for him, even down at the bottom of the order here in the Cape League. First pitch to Tanner Morris on the line to Ryan Kreidler, on to second for 1 and on to first to double play. Sometimes you get lucky in the field, folks. That one was hit right into Kreidler's glove. He dropped it, but because it was hit right at him, Nate Eichhoff
wasn't quite wasn't even running towards second base. Easily got him. Then Tanner Morris thought that he might have, dropped it and he didn't have to run, but it's still thrown out at first base, and now the Harwich manager is out and he disagrees. He says that Kreidler, I guess, completed the catch or did it on purpose. I'm really not sure what the argument is, but looking at the replay here, it definitely popped out of his glove and easily beat Morris down the first base side, so not sure what he was arguing, but there are two gone. First pitch to Chris Gallen in there for a strike.
It's kind of a weird thing, no real rhyme or reason why, but the Gatemen haven't turned too many double plays this year. 3 turned today.
And all of them brought to you by TM Ryder Insurance Agency. You can package your home and auto insurance for the perfect double play. TM Ryder, steering and securing your course since 1877. We were waiting for a while to see that first double play of the season. Like 4 or 5 games into the year, the Gatemen had still not turned one. So to have 3 in the same game and 2 of them be 5-4 threes, it's a pretty impressive day for the Gatemen fielding. Outside of the 3 hours.
I think TM Ryder was ready to sponsor something else. This was weeks before we had our first double play.
That pitch in the dirt, swung on and missed by Gallen. He'll be thrown out 2-3. He was really chugging down that first base side. But a 1-2-3 inning of sorts for Ryan Stoudemire. Top of the 8th done here from Spillane Field. Gatemen coming to the plate. They still trail it by 4. Offense has to get going soon. That's coming up on the Gatemen Baseball Network.
Founded in 1854, the Wareham-based AD make private property owner in eastern Massachusetts. The company supports organizations like the Wareham Gatemen and projects like the outdoor cranberry bog classroom that you may have passed on your way in. Visit admakepeace.com to learn more.
Located in Wareham Crossing, Coastal Orthodontics, longtime sponsor of the Wareham Gatemen, knows the importance of a healthy smile. Dr. Kevin Oliveira and his team at Coastal Orthodontics are a patient-focused practice, delivering professional, effective orthodontic treatment based on the individual clinical needs of each patient, resulting in beautiful smiles in a timely manner. With 10 years of experience using Invisalign, Coastal Orthodontics uses the most up-to-date dental equipment.
Village Signs of Mattapoisett. They do it all, from logo design, trucks and buildings, to boats. Village Signs has proudly served southern New England for over 35 years. Visit them at villagesigns.inc.com for all your signage needs.
Bottom of the 8th inning, new pitcher into the game for the Harwich Mariners, trying to protect this 6-2 lead. It's the right-hander out of Elon, George Kirby. Kirby, 6'4", 207 pounds, out of Rye, New York. He's 0-1 on the season for the Harwich Mariners. He's got a 3.37 ERA in 5 appearances. He's gone 5 1/3 innings, so just a 1 inning at a time kind of guy. 11 strikeouts and a walk. So the walk to strikeout ratio is pretty good for the big righty.
Yeah, and it's a guy with a team. It's not really a safe situation, obviously, at a 6-2 ball game. But as I mentioned earlier, the Mariners need to start stringing some wins together. Their season's starting to dwindle away, and they're losing playoff seeding and may fall out of playoff contention if it starts to go even more south. So this is a big game for them. Going into that day tomorrow, the teams will be at Fenway for the workout. So no game, but not really an off day per se. And this is a big one for them. They want to win this one. As you can see, they've kind of pulled out all the stops on the base paths and taken some good at-bats. And with their pitcher selection, bullpen selection, Miziazik coming in a 6-1 game at the time, and he's one of their best relievers. So can't say they're not serious about it.
It's interesting to see a right-hander come in, especially after Miziazik was pretty impressive through 2 innings, because you got 3 switch hitters coming up, and Skylar Hunter, Isaac Collins, and Sahid Valenzuela, all of whom are much more adept to hit from the left side of the plate. Hunter 0 for 2 today, both from the right side. Flyouts to both center and right field. 0-1 in there for a strike at the knees. Hunter wasn't too sure about that call. 0-2 to the Purdue center fielder. Oh, 2 out and away. 1-2 now from Kirby. Kirby this season at Elon, a sub-3 ERA at 2.89. Second team All-Colonial Athletic Association, I should say. He strikes out Skylar Hunter. 1-2 fastball waved on and missed. 1 gone in the 8th for the top of the order and Isaac Collins.
I think Hunter, even at 1-2, was thinking waste pitch there, wasn't thinking fastball. That ball was practically in Meadows' mitt by the time he started to swing at it, so just caught off guard there by him.
So Isaac Collins has been the catalyst of sorts for this team over the last couple of weeks. Coming up clutch in big situations. He's been on a bit of a downfall in the last couple of games. First pitch to him in on the corner for a strike, 0-1. Collins yesterday 0 for 4, the day before 0 for 4 as well. So he's 0 for his last 11 after a 3-hit day against Chatham a few days ago. 0-1 fastball in at the knees, quickly 0-2. Kirby working quickly and efficiently. Kirby is 32nd round pick of the Mets in 2016. Deciding to head off, though, to Elon. Trying to set down the Gatemen here on the Cape. Top of the order. This is the part of the order for the Gatemen that you want at the plate if you're trying to make a comeback. Trailed by 4 in the bottom of the 8th inning from Spillane Field. 1-2 fouled off. Collins stays alive.
And especially 2 and 3 in this order, Valenzuela and Shenton, albeit off a different pitcher, they both put really good swings on the ball their last time up. A sharp single from Valenzuela and the long double to right center field by Austin Shenton. So I think maybe their bats are starting to get hot again.
They broke out of a slump the other night here at Spillane Field against Catuit. And there's a single from Isaac Collins, bouncing ball into left field. So being the catalyst he needs to be at the top of the order. It's just the fifth hit of the day for the Gatemen. 3 in the last 2 innings, after 1 in the 2nd and 1 in the 5th before that.
And this one just found a hole. Nothing hit too hard by Collins that time, but Shunk, the third baseman, was guarding the line against a lefty, so it finds a hole through there. And now if you're Valenzuela, you just got to keep things off the ground.
Throw over to check back on Isaac Collins, who has speed at first base. 3 stolen bags on the season for the Creighton Blue Jay.
I wouldn't be surprised to see him go here, although Harwich is obviously pretty keen to it. Get a guy in scoring position, get out of that double play. Could be key.
First pitch, or excuse me, that's the first pitch to him. Fouled off down the left field line, 0-1. And Valenzuela put a charge into a pitch the last time he came to the plate. Nearly a home run, but it hooked foul just outside of the left field foul pole. Short porch at 315 down the left field side. He's flashed more power than we're used to seeing from him. Had no home runs this year at Cal State Fullerton. 2 here on the Cape. Isaac Collins has to scramble back in. No balls in a strike against Valenzuela with a modest lead at first for Isaac Collins. 0-1 fouled off, right back to us. 0-2 now. Gatemen have trailed since the very beginning. Tanner Morris, a solo home run to lead off the game. Wareham trying to climb back into this and avoid a 2-game losing streak after the loss yesterday against the Falmouth Commodores at Arnie Allen Diamond at Gov Fuller Field. Tying run is in the hole for him here. 0-2. Waved on and missed. Big cut from Sahid Valenzuela. Isaac Collins had faked toward second base, so that leads me to believe there might have been a hit and run on.
Yeah, there had to have been a play on there, JD, because we don't ever see Sahid Valenzuela chase a pitch that far out of the zone. Very disciplined, and he knows he's not going to hit this pitch up high, but you don't want to look like you weren't attempting the hit and run, and it was actually a good ball for Meadows to throw on, but holding up is Collins. He's kind of the worst of both worlds because Collins doesn't get to go to second, and Valenzuela strikes out because of the play.
So now 2 outs in the 8th inning. Austin Shenton trying to get something going for the Gatemen. Keep this rally that Isaac Collins started going. Doubled in his last plate appearance. First pitch to him here is in there for a strike, 0-1. Back in the 6th, with 1 out in that inning after Isaac Collins had grounded out Sahid Valenzuela a single, Austin Shenton a double, and a sac fly from Jeremy Idens to push across the 2nd run of the game. 1 run in the 5th, 1 run in the 6th for Wareham. A 1 low. Ball and a strike now. Throw over again, but Collins back in, standing up. One and one to the Cape League's best hitter. Fastball in the outside corner, called strike, 1-2. See the strike zone starting to expand just a touch here in the late innings. Especially that outer half to left-handed batters.
Yeah, I was just going to say, we saw a nice pitch in the last half inning from Stoudemire that caught that same spot, and I think this one was actually just a bit more outside, but that's typical in a game like this later on to see that strike zone expand.
That one misses well outside, though, so now the count is even at 2-2 to Shenton. Jeremy Idens, in the on-deck circle should Shenton find a way to reach. Two from the big righty Kirby. Misses down low. Isaac Collins off with the pitch. Throw down. Got him. High throw from Mason Meadows, but middle infielder pulls it down and applies the tag to Collins, and the Gatemen run themselves out of the 8th. 6-2 Harwich as we head to the top of the 9th inning. There'll be a new pitcher on the mound when we come back on the Gatemen Baseball Network.
The Gatemen wish to thank Patty Wild and the trustees of the John Wild Charitable Trust for their continued support of Gatemen Baseball in Wareham.
South Coast Health, operators of Charlton Memorial Hospital, St. Luke's Hospital, and Toby Hospital, delivers an unmatched combination of clinical excellence with a personal touch. They are proud to serve as southeastern Massachusetts and Rhode Island's only not-for-profit health system, as well as the region's largest employer. South Coast Health, the best care plus something more.
One of the Gatemen's favorite places for their post-game meals is Cool Cone, where you can get anything from fried clams and fried chicken to an ice cream sundae, and then top it all off with a round of mini golf. Cool Cone, located on Route 6 on the Wareham-Marion line.
Paven Parks from the DH spot to the pitcher's mound for the Gatemen in the top of the 9th inning. They trail it by 4, and Pavement Parks will try to keep things going for Wareham in this inning and try to keep it at just a 4-run ball game. He's been good at the plate so far today, and he's made a couple of appearances on the mound for the Gatemen this season. Parks out of Kent State, a two-way guy coming off his junior year. As we've mentioned a couple of times, a 24th round pick of the San Diego Padres this season in the MLB draft. As a pitcher, he's gone 1 game, 1 inning against Chatham the other night in the 9-2 win. Gave up a hit and struck out 2, but of course we have seen him pitch more than once this season. He was at the crux, at the center of the protested game that the Gatemen will replay on Wednesday against the Hyannis Harbor Hawks at McKeon Park.
Yeah, and he didn't quite have the control in that game. He hit a batter and gave up a hit. Did get out of the inning, but that was the beginning of it at Pavement Parks, and then trying to hit for himself, which is not in violation of Cape League or NCAA rules, and that's how we get that protest. And he obviously was not allowed to hit. And that's why we're going back to McKeon Park on Wednesday. Barely afternoon.
Barely.
We'll be there in the morning.
We will be. Game scheduled to come and be played at noon. But we will get there probably 2 hours or so before the game, as we usually do for road games. So we will be there bright and early on a Saturday morning. Then after that, the Gatemen will head a little further east on the Cape out to Brewster for the last time that the Gatemen will see Stony Brook Field, barring a protest, of course.
Now we got to account for them.
We do have to watch out. It has become a fixture. 2-0 sky high down the left field line. Looks like it'll stay fair as Jeremy Idens drifts over to the line and makes the play. 1 down.
The first baseman, number 13, Andre Lipschitz.
So, Pavement Parks comes into the game, gets the job done against a good hitter, an all-star even, in Aaron Shunk. And now another all-star, and Andre Lipschitz coming to the plate. He's got 3 strikeouts on the day, 1 in the first, 1 in the third, and 1 in the sixth. He also has a single, making him 1 for 4. He'll try to avoid the golden sombrero against Parks here. Right-hander out of Kent State, drops low, and then kicks and fires. First pitch is fouled off, 0-1. CS out of the SEC in Tennessee. First baseman on most nights for the Harwich Mariners, although he can play both corner infield spots. Also played a little bit of third base this season for the Volunteers down in Knoxville. 0-2 pump foul down the right field side. Jacob Goldfarb gives it a chase, but no Ben Norman sliding attempt for Goldfarb. Going back to that play from Norman, that was a scary play. Remember last year, Dustin Fowler making his MLB debut with the Yankees, tried to make a sliding catch, just ripped up his knee when he crashed into the wall. Ends up being out for the rest of the season, gets traded. Ben Norman, though, okay. 0-2 hit to the right side of the infield. Couple of hops to Isaac Collins. Throw in the first in time, 2 gone.
Yeah, it makes me think my Red Sox, Blake Swihart, a couple years ago playing left field. Similar play, that high left field wall. Not the Green Monster, you know what I mean. The one that brings it towards third base. He slid into that feet first, ripped up his Achilles. Missing the rest of the year.
A lot of ways you can hurt yourself.
It's not good, especially going... I mean, head first is obviously not an ideal way to go, but feet first could probably cause more injuries, more different injuries than just a concussion. Neither one's a good option. I don't want it to sound like I'm saying go in head first.
You could argue that the damage could be worse if you go hit in head first, but that's beside the point. 0-2 now the count to Brad Diebo as he cuts and misses at a good breaking ball from Pavement Parks. Parks just 1 strike away from getting out of this inning unscathed and getting the Gatemen to the bottom of the 9th with a chance to try to come back from down 4. Debo 1 for 4 on the day. Singled and then was caught stealing 2-6 in the last inning. In the last time he came to the plate back in the 7th. 1-2 from Parks. Low and inside, 2-2 now. Sun has almost completely set down the left field side here at Spillane Field. Early start time, working toward the third hour of this game. 2-2 roped down the left field line, but just foul to the left of the third base bag. Brad Diebel will go back, pick up his bat, and head back to the plate with a 2-ball, 2-strike count against him from Pavin Parks. Right-handed pitcher out of Kent State started this game at DH. And gets Debo swinging on strikes. Big strikeout for Pavin Parks. Ends the ninth inning in 1-2-3 fashion. Gatemen trail at 6-2 as we head to the home half of the final inning of play here from Spillane Field on the Gatemen Baseball Network.
Wareham House of Pizza has been serving Wareham and Marion for over 40 years with steak and cheese, pizza, and subs. Located in Shaw's Plaza, head on over for pickup or let them deliver to you.
The Gateway Tavern, located on Marion Road in Wareham, offers an extensive but not exhaustive array of menu choices. They search for the finest in foods, ranging from garden fresh produce to hand-selected seafood, and have special menus that change daily. The Gateway Tavern is proud to be the official helmet of the Wareham Gatemen.
Established in 1877, TM Riders is a family-run insurance agency located in downtown Middleborough, Massachusetts. TM Riders' goal is to find the best coverage at a fair rate for their customers, but they really value giving the best service they can provide. Visit the office on Thatcher's Row if you would like P&C insurance information, quotes, and policies.
Right-hander Caleb Freeman out of Texas Tech comes into the game for the Harwich Mariners in the bottom of the ninth inning. He'll look to close it down against the Wareham Gatemen offense that has struggled over the past 2 days. Just 5 hits in today's game after just 3 hits yesterday. But it is the right part of the order to get it going. Jeremy Idens will lead it off for Wareham. Austin Shenton will lead it off for Wareham after he was at bat for a caught stealing of Isaac Collins in the 8th.
Yeah, and that might be a good thing, I guess, if with Isaac Collins being thrown out at second base. You still get the heart of your order coming up 3, 4, 5. That'd be Shenton, Idens, and Goldfarb. So you start things off when you need a couple runs with the guy who is right up at the top of the leaderboard as far as average in the entire league. So, it's obvious, but it's now or never. You got to start getting those first couple of guys on if you want any chance in this game.
So the right-hander Freeman into the game, coming off his sophomore season at Texas Tech, out of the Big 12 from Abilene, Texas. Thus far this season with Harwich, well, he's been like Andrew Miziazik 2.0, but from the right side, a .87 ERA in 4 games. He's gone 10 1/3 innings, giving up 6 hits with 3 walks and 5 Ks for the right-hander. So Austin Shenton will get things started. Shenton is 1 for 3 on the day, 1 of 5 hits for the Gatemen, a double back in the 6th inning for him. Freeman will work exclusively out of the stretch. Long Wild Thing hair coming out from underneath his blue cap today for Harwich. Thought the Gatemen might have gotten things going offensively a bit. They scored a run in each the 5th and 6th innings, but since then in the 7th and 8th they have been blanked by a good pitching staff for Harwich coming into the game as 1A, 1B pitching staff with the Falmouth Commodores, both coming into today with 3.32 ERAs for the team. 1-1 to Shenton, though, deposited into left field for a single. So the rally is on for the Gatemen. Here comes Jeremy Idens.
That's definitely the way you want to get it started. Get on base any way you can. But Shenton actually going to the opposite field, which he doesn't do very much. It's a good piece of hitting for him to get on base to start things off in the 9th.
We've actually seen a lot of teams put the shift on against him, so opposite field not necessarily the strength, but you don't hit almost 400 without ever going to the opposite field. It's just been a lot of pull hits for Austin Shenton this season. One guy that can spray it to all fields, though, Jeremy Iden's in the batter's box. First pitch to him popped up on the infield. Lipsy is called off by Cassells. One gone. That's not exactly what you want to see from your cleanup hitter, who has been an RBI machine of late in Idens, but Jacob Goldfarb has been an on-base machine. Not quite today. He's been on base just 1 of 3 times, hit by a pitch in the 2nd, ground out and a fly out since then in the 4th and the 6th.
Yeah, not only is that a weak pop-up by Jeremy Idens, but that's the first pitch of the at-bat. You're not making this guy work, the guy who's pretty much the closer for the Mariners. No team really has a set one here on the Cape, but you want to make him work. You want to make him throw a lot of pitches, tire him out. So once you get some guys on base, he's serving up some meatballs, but not that time. First pitch swinging, and it doesn't work out for him.
0-1 to Goldfarb outside, 1-1. One fouled off down the right field side. 1-2 now. Gatemen down to their final 2 outs. The bottom of the 9th inning. We've seen some walk-off magic the last time the Harwich Mariners were here, although that was in a tie ball game going into the 9th. The Gatemen needed just 1 run. They need 4 to tie, 1 to walk it off. The tying run is in the hole. He's represented by Ryan Kreidler. 1-2 up and away, 2-2. Two outside, 3-2. So Jacob Goldfarb living up to his, I guess you could call it, role as the on-base guy for this Gatemen team. Just 1 pitch out of the zone away from reaching base and putting runners at first and second for Paven Parks, who's coming to the dish next. 3-2, checked his swing on a pitch outside. They're not even going to worry about an appeal. They'll let Goldfarb trot down. 1 out walk and runners at first and second base. Here comes Paven Parks.
That's some serious plate discipline from Goldfarb. That's a really good looking pitch, and not only does he lay it off, but also starts to swing and still holds it up. Knows it's just above the strike zone. Is able to get on with another walk. It's pretty odd, you might say, for a guy like Goldfarb to be batting in that 5th hole. He gets on base a lot, but doesn't have a lot of power. But that pays off for the Gatemen in this inning anyway.
First pitch misses to Paven Parks, 1-0 to the left-handed hitter out of Kent State, who just threw, a scoreless, hitless, walkless appearance in the top of the 9th inning. Got it done on the mound, now trying to get it done at the plate. 1-0 in at the knees for a strike. 1-1 in a 6-2 ball game. Parks this season at Kent State had 7 home runs to go along with 11 doubles and 5 triples. And it seems when he's having one of those big games, it's always with an extra base attached to it. Extra base hit, I should say. 2 doubles a couple of nights ago at Chatham. Extra base hit would do wonders here for the Gatemen. 2-1 outside, 3-1.
Couple of close pitches missing here from Freeman. And that's going to really favor the Gatemen, who aren't swinging the bats too well as of late, as we've mentioned ad nauseum tonight. To work a couple of walks, work some hitters' counts, should do wonders for this lineup.
3-1 low. Pavin Parks on with a walk, bases loaded for Ryan Kreidler. Pavin Parks channeling his inner person he admires most there, Tom Brady. Admires him for the calm demeanor he shows in any situation. We've seen Tom Brady lead many a comeback for the New England Patriots over the years. Of course, the thought process goes back to 2 Super Bowls ago with the Atlanta Falcons, the 28-3 game. Not quite 28-3, but still a pretty hefty lead for the Harwich Mariners with a 4-run advantage here in the 9th, and Pavin Parks got it started on the mound in the top half of this inning. Will look to keep it going, or did keep it going here with the bat in hand in the 9th. Didn't have to swing it, but reached base anyways.
And yeah, so much of that is also like that Super Bowl in the sense that Pavin Parks knows he has a job at the plate right now, or when he was at the plate. He's not trying to hit that one over the wall and make it 6-5. He's just thinking, I just want to get on base. If I'm not getting my pitch, I'm not getting my pitch, but I want to get on base. And that takes some resolve for kids, especially ones who are the best players on their team in college baseball, coming into a part of a bigger team on the Cape. And he's able to show some discipline, like Goldfarb ahead of him, take some close pitches, not trying to do too much.
That one a close pitch, but called a strike to Ryan Kreidler, the shortstop out of UCLA. 1 for 3 today, flied out to right field in the 2nd, doubled and scored a run in the 5th, and then flied out to left in the 7th inning. A 1 from Freeman low, 1-1.
The last 2 at-bats have almost made up for that Idens flyout. As I mentioned, you didn't see anything from Freeman. It was the first pitch. Now you're really wearing him down. A couple of those pitches, as I've mentioned again, have been pretty close, but the Gatemen know what the strike zone is right now.
1-1 low, 2-1.
I just don't know if
Continuing
Freeman
to
knows where
work.
the strike zone is.
Kreidler this season at UCLA in terms of extra base hits, 7 doubles and 3 home runs. As a sophomore out in Los Angeles. 2-1 up and in, nearly hit him, 3-1.
We remember the last time one almost came up and bit Kreidler up at the shoulder. Tried to sell it, roped the double.
Double would be perfect here. Could easily score 2, possibly even more. 3-1 the count to him here from Caleb Freeman. Fastball low. 1 comes in to score for the Gatemen. Lead is now just 3 for Harwich, and the bases are still loaded.
And I talked about it earlier with Jack Ralston on the mound. Sometimes if a reliever doesn't have it, he just doesn't have it. And there's someone getting loose down there for the Mariners, and this leash is going to get awfully short for Freeman, who's not used to that. Coming in as pretty much the closer role for Harwich this year. He's not used to coming out of a game, but that could be happening very soon, especially if Luke Roscom can apply some more pressure.
3 consecutive walks for the Gatemen against Caleb Freeman in the 9th. Bases still loaded for Roscom. He pumps one high and deep out into the left center field gap. It's going back, and it's heading off the wall. Jacob Goldfarb scores from 3rd. Here comes Pavin Parks. Play at the plate. Here comes Ryan Kreidler. He scores. Luke Roscom is going to be thrown out at 3rd, but this game is tied.
Are you kidding me? You talk about putting some offense in your lineup. Luke Roscom comes in for Drew Millis a couple innings ago, and he delivers. I thought this ball was going to get out, and he was going to be getting a Gatorade bath with a walk-off grand slam, but clearing the bases. Man, a guy who hasn't thrown a lot of strikes this inning, and Caleb Freeman just serves one up to Luke Roscom there. And how incredible, even with him thrown out at 3rd base, a tie ball game just like that.
Wow, what a play. And now Oliver Dunn is going to come into the game to pinch hit for Skylar Hunter. And now the Harwich manager is out for Caleb Freeman, and it looks like this might be the end of the line for the right-hander.
And to do this to a guy with a sub-1 ERA this year, and coming out of one of those big Power 5 teams, a College World Series team, the Texas Tech Red Raiders, who he played a big role on, that's a real impressive, real positive thing to take home for the Gatemen. We heard after the end of the 7th, Don Snedden's interview with Mary Orders saying there really wasn't anything positive to take from this game from the Gatemen standpoint. Well, now you certainly do.
So a new pitcher into the game for the Gatemen. So it'll be a right-hander to go up against at least Oliver Dunn out of the 9-hole here in the bottom of the 9th inning. Gatemen now with a tie score, just 1 run away from walking it off in the 9th inning. We're going to take a break here on the Gatemen Baseball Network. When we come back, more 9th inning action.
The Beach House Grill at Chatham Bars Inn Resort and Spa is the perfect spot for a seaside lunch or evening clam bake. A proud member of leading hotels of the world.
One of the area's best restaurants is located right up the street, Brewfish Bar and Eatery. Brewfish offers 20 rotating craft beers on tap and creative pub food. Check out their off-the-menu brunch with a Bloody Mary bar and $5 mimosas on Sundays. Join us for outdoor dining and drinks under the tent, or for live music every weekend, located on Route 105 in Marion.
Beat the heat and join us at Water. Beat the heat and join us at Waterways, a water experience unlike any other this side of the bridge. Open daily, head over to the water park on Route 28, the Cranberry Highway.
The right-hander Alex Wood into the game. We've got a tie ball game, Cam Stewart, here in the bottom of the 9th inning. Who saw this one coming for the Gatemen?
Certainly not me. I am dumbfounded right now. They haven't had the offense working at all this weekend, and it just comes alive in kind of a weird way. They walk 3 guys in the inning, does Freeman, including bringing a run home, and then all of a sudden, Luke Roscom, of all people, comes away with the big hit, almost leaves the yard to the opposite field, left center out here in Spillane, and clears the bases with it. Just unbelievable. Not only have we not had the big hit for the Gatemen the last few days, we haven't had much of any hits from the Gatemen. And they work the count, they get guys on base, that's all they're worried about, and Luke Roscom gets a pitch to drive. Unbelievable.
Pitch to drive to the opposite field, too. He went the opposite way to one of the deeper part of the parks, out in the left center field alley, and we have got a tie ball game with Oliver Dunn coming to the plate for the Gatemen. He will pinch hit for Skylar Hunter with 2 outs against the new pitcher, Austin Wood, out of Stetson, 6'4", 227 pounds, from Barberville, Florida. Big right-hander coming off his freshman season with the Hatters in the Atlantic Sun. He's got a 9.72 ERA this season. 1-0 outside, 2-0 to Dunn.
Not much left on your bench if you're Don Snedden, so that's why he's bringing in Oliver Dunn, but it'll make for a bit of an odd scenario if they play on into the 10th. Who would fill in center field? You have to imagine Isaac Collins moving back to the outfield and Oliver Dunn at second.
2-0 bounce to the right side to Casals. Throw on to first. The 9th is done, but the Gatemen with 4 runs coming in to score in the inning. 1 on an RBI walk from Ryan Kreidler, the other 3 on an RBI double from Luke Roscom with 2 outs in the inning. We're headed to extras. Free baseball coming up on the Gatemen Baseball Network.
Red Shirt Fridays.
Top of the 10th inning, first inning of extras here from Spillane Field. A miraculous comeback in the bottom of the 9th for the Gatemen, ties it up. Paven Parks back to the mound, and Danny Casals is the batter in the 10th. First pitch, nice breaking ball out of the hand of Parks right on the inside corner, 0-1. Casals has reached base 3 times today, a single, a walk, and he's reached on an error. 0-1, strike again, 0-2. Parks got the Mariners to go 1-2-3 in the 3-4-5 holes, yes. So he got the heart of the order to go down, now dealing with Casals, who has been a thorn in the Gatemen's side today, the second baseman out of Maine. 0-2, called strike 3 on the inside corner from Paven Parks, and there's one gone in the 10th.
I was a little surprised to see Paven Parks out there. Not much time to get someone warmed up in that 9th inning, because obviously 3 runs coming home to tie the game on 1 play, but man, Parks, good morning, good afternoon, good night. See you later. First batter, he proves me wrong.
Looking to prove you wrong a little bit more here against Ben Norman. First pitch to the Iowa Hawkeye in there for a strike, 0-1. Ben Norman struck out twice in this game, once in the 2nd, once in the 4th, against Tyler Kaiser and Tyler Ahern, respectively. Since then, he's walked twice and scored a run. A 1 from Parks fouled off, 0-2. Oh, 2 from Parks. Just missed the outside corner by maybe like a half an inch on the outer half of the plate. That is a great breaking ball from Paven Parks.
I can't tell where that one missed. That was a strike early in the game for Stoudemire and for Shenton at the plate.
1-2, bounce back up the middle. Oliver Dunn, the new second baseman, racing over. Throw over to first. Got him. Great defensive play from Oliver Dunn. And you were right, Cam. We have had some defensive shifts. Isaac Collins out to right field. Oliver Dunn at second. Jeremy Idens into center field, and Jacob Goldfarb into left now. So left to right across the outfield. Jacob Goldfarb, Jeremy Idens, and Isaac Collins. In at second base, Oliver Dunn. First pitch to Mason Meadows. Misses below the knees, 1-0. Breaking ball in there for a strike. We've seen him break that off a couple of times in this inning. It's looked great. Even count. One at the knees again. 1-2 from Paven Parks to Mason Meadows. Meadows today, 0 for 3. Fly out to center field, a strikeout, a walk, and a ground out. 1-2, bounce to the third base side, but foul. There's a weird sort of calmness that has settled in over Spillane Field, letting Paven Parks work here, but it was rocking back in the bottom of the 9th when Luke Roscom delivered that bases-clearing double to tie it.
Almost sounds like a golf tournament right now. Hush coming over Spillane.
Let the man work. He's got 2 strikes against the powerful Mason Meadows, the 1-2. Just missed inside. Nasty breaking ball from Paven Parks. My goodness. That was a great pitch.
I don't know what else Parks has to do with the breaking ball there. 2 of those in the last 2 batters.
2-2. Breaking ball bounced back up the middle. Sahid Valenzuela will glove it, and he loses it as he heads in toward first base. So on first goes Mason Meadows. So Harwich alive, with Nate Eichhoff coming to the plate. That'll be a single for Mason Meadows. Would have been a tough play for Zahid Valenzuela, even if he had come up with it cleanly on a bouncing ball. So 2 outs now. Pavement Park's dealing with Nate Eichhoff, who has reached base all 4 times he's come to the plate. First pitch, bounced down the first base side, but foul. Austin Shenton gloving it anyway. Eichhoff reached and scored on a drop third strike in the 3rd inning. Singled and scored in the 5th. Walked in the 6th. And singled back in the 8th inning. Has yet to face Pavement Parks, down 0-1 to him here. Stop behind home plate by Luke Roscom, who's been the hero in this game for the Gatemen, continuing a good day. Came in as a defensive replacement a few innings ago for Drew Millis. Has delivered behind home plate and has delivered at the plate as a batter. Without a doubt, now a balk from Pavement Parks. So Mason Meadows up to second. And now we're going to have a pinch runner come into the game. It'll be Logan Driscoll. So you're switching one catcher for the other, but apparently some faith in the speed of Logan Driscoll. Listen, Drew Millis is a fast guy behind home plate for the Gatemen. There could be another quick catcher out there.
Guess so. We talked about shortstops earlier. That's a position that's become a lot more athletic.
Absolutely.
Catcher position, so you hope for their sake that he is.
You don't really see the Pudge Rodriguez's and Yadier Molinas of the world anymore coming up as catchers. And really, I think, over to Blake Swihart. He's an athletic guy, can play multiple positions. Was a catcher coming up through the Red Sox organization, but has since become more of a utility man.
Yeah, and was a guy that played everywhere in high school and was kind of made into a catcher coming up through those Red Sox ranks because they're so hard to come by pure catchers anymore. So you find yourself converting maybe your most athletic or your smartest baseball player out there on the field into a catcher.
So Logan Driscoll, the pinch runner at second. 1-2 the count to Nate Eichhoff, the Virginia Cavalier in the batter's box against Pavement Parks. 2 outs, top of the 10th. Gatemen have already erased a 4-run deficit in the bottom of the 9th inning. 1-2. Called strike 3 on the outside corner. Pavement Parks coming up huge, both at the plate and on the mound. 3 strikeouts for him on the day, and that will do it for the top of the 10th. Tie ball game still 6-6. Gatemen look to walk it off, and the bottom half when we come back on the Gatemen Baseball Network.
For a nostalgic
Located along
Austin Wood back to the mound. Bottom of the 10th inning. Gatemen trying to walk it off after they trailed by 4 in the bottom of the 9th. Isaac Collins in the batter's box, top of the order for the Gatemen. These are the guys you want at the plate. Collins, Valenzuela, Shenton due up. Single for Collins in his last at bat back in the 8th inning. First pitch to him, called strike on the outside corner. 0-1. It's been a wild one from Spillane Field. Offense really struggling in this game for the Gatemen, really dating back to yesterday before exploding in the 9th. This one's flared out into left field, and it will fall in front of Nate Eichhoff. So a leadoff single for Isaac Collins. And now this really becomes reminiscent of that game against Harwich because Collins got on and then scored the run in the walk-off win the last time the Harwich Mariners were here.
Yeah, it's looking awfully familiar. Unfortunately for the Gatemen, no Bryant Packard to bring in that run, that game-winning run on the sacrifice fly. But some guys in the middle and the bottom of the order last inning who really had the magic going.
So Isaac Collins on at first. Last time he was on the base paths, cut down on a caught stealing in the 8th to end that inning. Zahid Valenzuela shows bunt, gets one down, and a good one in between first base and the pitcher's mound. Collins moves up to second on the sacrifice. So Valenzuela does exactly his job. Runner in scoring position for Austin Shenton. And Shenton has a flair for the dramatic. Game 1 of the doubleheader with Orleans in the first week of the season, a walk-off home run. And another improbable comeback for the Gatemen, another game in which their offense struggled.
Yeah, they were lucky to only be down 2 runs going into the 9th in that game. And he's not going to get the same chance here of hitting that walk-off 3-run homer like he did against Orleans. He's going to get walked.
Not only will this not allow Austin Shenton, the best hitter on this team, to swing the bat, but it also sets up a force situation at any base once these 4 free passes are issued from Austin Wood to the new catcher, Logan Driscoll, behind home plate.
Yeah, and you've got a guy in Idens coming up who's tough to double up, but obviously that is what the Mariners are going for here to try and get that force back on.
Collins jumping around out at second base there, but just making sure that nothing gets by Logan Driscoll, and that if it does, he's ready to get on his horse and move up to third. Fourth pitch out of the strike zone delivered to Austin Shenton. He's on with an intentional walk. And Jeremy Idens, the all-star center fielder, comes to the plate with runners at first and second and 1 out. Tie ball game in the bottom of the 10th.
A tough 0 for 4 for Idens today, but obviously can erase all those with almost anything to the outfield here. Collins is a speedy runner. Sharp hit to left field might be an issue, but almost anything that gets down out there will win it.
First pitch to Idens, misses low, 1-0. Today for Idens, flyouts to center field twice, a sacrifice fly to right field, and then popped up as the first run of that 9th inning. Slashed foul, 1-1.
You can keep that foul ball, courtesy of attorney Glenn Hannington and his daughter Tevis.
Now, was it just coincidence that fireworks started going off in the 9th inning when the Gatemen put 4 across?
I think it was divine intervention.
How poetic the Cape League can be.
Americana is one of your favorite words to describe this league, Cam, and
That's
Americana is exactly
time.
what we're getting.
Every time, that's what I hear. I'm pretty sure even Peter Gammon said it when he was on with us and could do it. Norman Rockwell, Americana, summer catch. That's humbling, wood bats. These are all like your keywords.
2-1 to Idens. Inside, 3-1 now. Jacob Goldfarb, the right fielder, waits on deck. So Idens will be looking 1 pitch, 1 location with 3 balls and a strike against him. Austin Wood on the mound. Tie ball game in the bottom of the 10th. 3-1 inside, bases loaded.
Well, you're not going to induce a double play if you don't give him anything to hit. Now you're dealing with a guy, Goldfarb, who you got to throw strikes to. Not only are the bases loaded, but he doesn't chase outside that zone. Wood hasn't been featuring too much nasty breaking stuff, so this is definitely in the Gatemen's favor right now.
Very similar situation. Runner at third, less than 2 outs. That runner is Isaac Collins. The outfield is in to try to eliminate the possibility of a sac fly. First pitch to Goldfarb outside, 1-0. Outfield in, infield in as well. Everybody in for the Harwich Mariners. 1-0 gets away. Isaac Collins racing home, and he will touch home, and the Gatemen win it. A walk-off wild pitch. Isaac Collins is doused with the Gatorade. At least they tried to get him, and the Gatemen win it 7-6 in extra innings.
Wow. For all the work the Gatemen have to do to tie up this one, in the 9th, they get a bit of a freebie in the 10th. They couldn't score on the wild pitch earlier. Pavin Parks was gunned down at the plate. This one easy, not even a slide from Isaac Collins, all the way to the backstop. I had said Wood didn't feature much breaking stuff, and that might have been why, as it gets by Meadows and all the way to the backstop. And the Gatemen with maybe their most improbable win of the year.
What a win for the Wareham Gatemen. Pavin Parks not only scores a run in this game, he also picks up the win. He has 3 strikeouts in a relief appearance. The hero of this game was Luke Roscom. He didn't even start.
Yeah, comes in as a defensive replacement, but as I had said a few times, definitely the offense in mind there, and to kind of protect Drew Millis from any further brutality behind the plate. And Roscom's a guy who's struggled this year. The bat's been coming on a little bit as of late, the last couple weeks, but hasn't been getting consistent playing time. Gets a pitch to hit in the 9th inning and has his best drive of the year out to left center. And that's just baseball, man.
An absolutely improbable win for the Gatemen. They only had 4 hits going into the 9th inning. Or they had 5 hits going into the 9th inning, I should say. And they deliver with 3 in the 9th and the 10th to win it in walk-off fashion. An absolutely fantastic win for the Wareham Gatemen, as they move to 18-11-1 on the season and keep a 3-point lead over the Hyannis Harbor Hawks in the Western Division. The Harwich Mariners move to 13-16-1, and this one really hurts the Mariners moving forward in terms of playoff contention.
Yeah, a team that's trying to fit into that playoff role right now is taking a big hit. We kept mentioning how big a win this would be going into the off day tomorrow for them, and it hurts all that much more that it's a loss. Your bullpen blew it. You put in your high-leverage guys at the end of the game. It looked like that was your bridge. And Caleb Freeman, a guy who's been lights out all year, you bring in for the 9th inning to try and close it out. And not even a save situation, a 4-run ball game that he comes into, and he just completely blows it.
Perhaps the most impressive win of the season for the Gatemen in terms of the wherewithal it took for this team to pull it off. 7-6 the final. An extra innings walk-off wild pitch wins it for Wareham. Folks, thanks for making it through this entire broadcast, because you could have left when the Gatemen were down 4 in the 9th, but if you did, then you missed out on something special. We want to thank you for listening to this broadcast of Wareham Gatemen Baseball on the Gatemen Baseball Network. The general manager of the Wareham Gatemen is Andrew Lang. The producer of today's broadcast is Trevor Russo. Our sideline reporter is Mary Orders. Thanks to our beat writer Ian Visser for providing the in-game Cape League updates, and today's WCTV broadcaster Henrique Demore. The next broadcast of Wareham Gatemen Baseball will be Tuesday, as the Gatemen play the Falmouth Commodores right here at Spillane Field in Wareham, Massachusetts, for a 6:30 start. The Gatemen have tomorrow off for Monday, Monday is tomorrow, as they travel to Fenway to work out at Fenway Park. Game starts at 6:30 on Tuesday. Our coverage begins at 6 p.m. with Gatemen Pregame Live. For Cameron Stewart, I'm J.D. Rachi saying so long, and thanks for tuning into this presentation of Wareham Gatemen Baseball on the Gatemen Baseball Network. Once again, your final score, a walk-off effort in extra innings. The Wareham Gatemen 7, the Harwich Mariners 6. We will talk to you on Tuesday night.